Ayy, Spiffy Lil Kenny, man. I said, so trapping hard, getting rid of them loads. Gotta go get it, the life that I chose. Let a finger, fuck the cash and fuck on the hoes. Been through it all, I sold $1 million no's. Stack up a milli, got rich nigga goals. Stack up a milli, got rich nigga goals. I got rich nigga goals. I got rich nigga goals. So trapping hard, getting rid of them loads. Gotta go get it, the life that I chose. Let a finger, fuck the cash and fuck on the hoes. Been through it all, I sold $1 million no's. Stack up a milli, got rich nigga goals. Stack up a milli, got rich nigga goals. I got rich nigga goals. I got rich nigga goals. Ain't always that place I started was on. So million notes from the land of the old. 1B a million nigga, got rich nigga goals. Nigga rich bros, might do the rules gold. BBS in my 41mm, keep the pack strapped with a 9mm. My bitch bag, I do right shit, keep a letter, write me, then I flip her over and beat her. Fuck me good, her shit wetter than water. Help me count up my way up for the morning. Switch my number pack, touchdown, I'm going. Run through the lows, importer, exporter. Love when the number drop my bag increase. Up and down like stocks, hate when it decrease. Play with cash, we pop up, these niggas DC. Can't escape my past, the trap shit in me. Got turned out when I sing what you make on zone. Chasing bad, trying to get it till I jumped out the pool. Sell designer, why designer down, fucking with the lows. Make movies in the club every time I light show. Got turned out when I sing what you make on zone. Chasing bad, trying to get it till I jumped out the pool. Sell designer, why designer down, fucking with the lows. Make movies in the club every time I light show. So trapping hard, getting rid of them loads. Gotta go get it, the life that I chose. Let a finger, fuck the cash and fuck on the hoes. Been through it all, I sold $1 million no's. Stack up a milli, got rich nigga goals. Stack up a milli, got rich nigga goals. I got rich nigga goals. I got rich nigga goals. So trapping hard, getting rid of them loads. Gotta go get it, the life that I chose. Let a finger, fuck the cash and fuck on the hoes. Been through it all, I sold $1 million no's. Stack up a milli, got rich nigga goals. Stack up a milli, got rich nigga goals.
Man, y'all most definitely support my boy, Spiffy Lil Kenny, man. One of the hottest artists out of Baltimore. Y'all go check him out on our music. Man, y'all show him some love, support him. Bumping rap, man. Cold with it, man. Shout out to Spiffy Lil Kenny, my brother. Man, shout out to everybody in the chat so far. Man, we here. Full court press, 94 feet boys in the building. Shout out to my brother A Sturdy for being behind the scenes. He basically being Sugar Slim, you know what I'm saying? He played the background. He don't want all the attention, but he playing that background, man. Hey, man, y'all think this shit dead? It ain't dead. Hey, it ain't dead. Hey, John, I basically gave you those 2 wins last weekend. I felt sorry for you because I think you was a good content creator. You're very entertaining, my boy. But you know what I'm saying? I gotta let you win so that way I won't have you run away. I don't want you to keep crying, you did. But shout out, man. Shout out to everybody, man. Hollywood Herm in the building. Man, you got A Johnny and Hollywood Herm going again next week, y'all, man. The topic would be next Saturday night, y'all. The topic would be which era is better, the 2000s or the 2010s. Of course, you know I roll with the 2000s. Hey, Johnny got the 2010s, and we gonna see who really gonna talk basketball and who really gonna put in the like last week. You know, it's kind of charity work. I basically gave them a couple of wins, which is cool. You know, you win some, you lose some, and sometimes you gotta let people win to actually get the bigger picture. Like I said. Like I told y'all last Saturday, it's deeper than what y'all realize. These topics and these debates happen for a reason to get certain things out, to expose certain people with their certain viewpoints and the certain viewpoints that they despise. They end up doing the exact same thing. Like typically, look at last night, dissing teammates, dissing Stephen Curry. Same thing that a certain fan base get accused of all the time. We've seen it unfold, how things truly are. But man, enough of that, y'all. Shout out to everybody, man. Hey man, look at my boy H30, man. Brandon Katz is in the building, man. Brandon Katz came back from hiding. I don't know what the hell he's been doing, but we got Brandon Katz back. All he's gonna say throughout the shows and throughout everybody that's doing YouTube videos, that's Cab. You don't know what you're talking about. He gonna criticize the hell out of it. But shout out to Brandon Katz in the building. We got Andre DFJ Hoops in the building, man. King's Angel salute to you. Tiffany Ned, Queen B of FYF in the building. We got College in the building. We got Mr. Brown Media in the building, man. Hey, man. I got some hot takes about this upcoming season that starts Tuesday. The NBA season starts Tuesday. I got some hot takes, some interesting takes about how I feel about it and how I view it and everything else. But just to give a quick update on the baseball game so far, because that's really my sport. It's been a great postseason, by the way. If you guys into baseball, man, this been one of the best postseasons that we've seen in a long time, man. The Indians are up 1-0 right now. Um, they, they up on the Yankees. The Yankees up in the series. They could clinch it tonight. I love what I'm seeing. Period throughout this postseason. I do believe it would be a Subway World Series. It would be the Yankees versus the Mets. I believe the Yankees would pull it out, and I also believe the Mets will win tomorrow to make it an all out go home, win a go home situation in the game 7, and we will see that. And I think the Mets will prevail. They will pull it off like the Liberty will pull off winning game 5 tomorrow. I think this is a type of year for the state of New York. Football wise, I don't see it, but Buffalo probably the only chance that New York got for us if someone's gonna make the Super Bowl. But I don't see it. For the NBA, I'm gonna start off with this. The NBA with Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks. A lot of people believe they have a great opportunity to dethrone the Boston Celtics and make it to the NBA Finals. And sometimes it's not all about teams being better. Sometimes it's destiny. So are the New York Knicks destined to make the NBA Finals? Is Jalen Brunson destined to lead the Knicks to the NBA final, to their first NBA Finals since 1999? And can he win MVP? In my opinion, I love Jalen Brunson. Hell of a player, you guys. Dominant. He's been bringing a different attitude towards the New York Knicks and everything, sending it to a positive direction. But I don't think he's not going to be in the running for MVP. I honestly don't think that Jalen Brunson would be a top 3 candidate in MVP race. I think end of the day, it's between Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, and SGA. I think those are the guys that's going to be in the running for MVP. Those are the guys that's going to be fighting. And 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 I think as good as Jalen Brunson has been the last couple of years, I just think those 3 guys are just too talented, too damn good, in their teams. Absolutely going to be better than the New York Knicks, in my opinion, as well. And we know when MVPs, for the most part, it always go to the best player that typically plays for the best team for the most part, unless they having a historical type season. And as good as Jalen Brunson is, I don't see him having a historical season to the point where that he could be ahead of Jokic, he could be ahead of Luka, or he could be ahead of SGA. I don't see that. So I don't think he have a great chance to win MVP. But can he get the Knicks to the finals? It's a possibility. End of the day, with how the NBA season goes, we always have injuries. Unfortunate stuff with injuries always happen. And luck, you need a certain type of luck to win a championship. So we just got to be honest. We just got to be honest and give them an open shot. That cat move was a good move for the Knicks. I think they went all in. When you think about that trade for getting Cat, a lot of people feel like the Knicks lost some depth. I honestly believe it's a good trade because now you're putting the onus on OG and Anunoby to live up to the hype that a lot of people perceive him to be. A lot of people have great hopes for OG and Anunoby. The Toronto Raptors most definitely did. And that's why they held on to him as long as they did. But he always was injured, always was not available. And unfortunately, they did what they had to do. But for the Knicks, you had to take that chance, especially getting a player like Cat. But you had to take a chance as well because you just gave OG Anunoby a big contract. So end of the day, training DiVincenzo, yes, it hurt because you had the Villanova aspect. They were basically bringing back the national championship team on one team basically again with Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, DiVincenzo, and Hart. That was basically Villanova, and that was the top guys on that national championship team. But unfortunately, New York had to make a business decision which I think is a wise one. And you do have to see what you have with OG and Anunoby. So a lot of people that honestly believe the Knicks that was a done trade, no, it's not. I think that you had to roll the dice, and you got to see what you got with OG and Anunoby. So trading DiVincenzo is not popular in their locker room because Villanova catch they close. They playing this in a sense, and they was this close to actually playing with each other. But the business of basketball will lead to the unexpected to happen, and there was something on the table, and they took advantage of it and got it. As far as the Minnesota aspect, I think they're taking a step back. The West is too talented, too deep. I think you got a lot of rising superstars in the league as well. So I think Minnesota, they're gonna be still a top 5 team in the West, but they're not gonna be as dominant as they was. But y'all, this is where I want to go to. This is the guy I want to cook. This is a guy I have to destroy. Stripper Nation, aka Clipper Nation. Kawhi Leonard is out again indefinitely. He won't start the season. He's hurt once again, dealing with that knee problem. And the Clippers always give you false hope, always try to sell their way into we need to believe in the Clippers. We need to believe in Kawhi Leonard. And when Kawhi Leonard plays, he's the best player on the floor. Man, cut the crap. Cut the BS. Kawhi Leonard's not the best of nothing. Kawhi Leonard has been nothing but a failure for the Clippers for the 5 years that he already played there. End of the day, it's been a failure. When he was healthy, he got walked down by Young, Nikola Jokic, and Jamal Murray in the bubble. They was up 3-1. Could have met the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, but guess what? He dropped the ball, blew the 3-1 lead, got his ass sent home. So, end of the day, this is not 2019 Clipper fans or Kawhi fans. I think you guys are easily one of the worst fan bases in the NBA. Worse than LeBron, worse than Curry fan base. Hell, even worse than Michael Jordan fan base at times. How much you guys make excuses and cap for Kawhi Leonard. And honestly, you guys, Kawhi Leonard needs to retire. He needs to hang him up. The only reason he's still hanging around because he's trying to collect that big extension that he signed. He's gonna collect. At the end of the day, I feel you guys. He's stealing money from the Clippers organization. He's stealing money from the delusion ass fans that support him. He's stealing from the people that buy his jerseys, them ugly ass New Balances that he has. He's stealing from them. He's stealing for the people that buy NBA League Pass for as a Clipper fan, trying to watch his ass, and he's not even gonna be on the court. Clippers, man, I feel sorry for Steve Ballmer. And it much as criticism that they give to Paul George, all of it should go to Kawhi Leonard. And the man needs to retire, needs to step away, and I don't give a damn about him. And we do need to move on. I agree with that. So who cares about Kawhi Leonard retired? You a bum. You overrated. One of the most overrated so-called superstars in NBA history, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Um, but I'm gonna go with my MVP predictions, and I'm also in the same breath give you who's going to win the NBA title. In a sense, too, my MVP prediction, y'all. Luka Doncic will win his first MVP. Luka Doncic will win his scoring title. And Luka Doncic will win his first ring and first Finals MVP as well. So I got the Dallas Mavericks winning it all. I like the moves that they made. They low key, you guys have done some things that went under the radar. Yes, everybody knows about the Klay Thompson trade. Everybody knows how that goes with that. But Spencer Dinwiddie, Nigel Marshall. They getting that depth back with that size. A lot of their big men are healthy now. The younger players are getting better. Look at Tiffany laughing. Hey, this is the year for Luca. A lot of people got to realize with generational talent, you guys, for the most part, with the generational talent with all-time great players, they elevate their play. They elevate their 7th year in the league. Most of the time, those guys win. Michael Jordan won. You had Kobe at a young age, but that don't count. Shaquille O'Neal won as an 8th-year player. LeBron won as a 9th-year player. So those guys like that, They typically start peaking at this time, and I think Luka Doncic, he's been under the radar this year, not getting a lot of attention for us. We heard rumblings for the last couple of years that it was supposed to be the year of Luka. Luka was supposed to win MVP. They told us that last year. Actually, told us that for the last couple of years, but I believe this year is the year for Luka Doncic, and I believe this year he will host the trophy. The Mavs will be the champs, and Luka Doncic will put himself in supremacy of being the best player in the NBA, and the Luka Doncic era will begin. I just believe that the moves that they make generally fits the team. They are better defensively. They got another year to actually get a full season with P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford. And I just think that the Dallas Mavericks, they prime ready. I mean, you got a player in Luka that he got ice cold veins. He's not scared of the moment. You got a guy, Kyrie Irving, showed you last postseason. He's ready for the big time moments. He will play great defense. He will hit big shots when they need him. He will take over the game when Luka may be cold or Luka may need some help from his teammates. Kyrie Irving will pick up the slack. And I believe you guys, as much as people been talking bad about him, I think Klay Thompson will come into his own during the year. I think he's in his own way. I think it's a mental hurdle that he's going through. But when you got a guy like Jason Kidd as your coach, when you got the positive being and Kyrie Irving over there, and you got one of the smoothest, coolest players in the game, and Luka Doncic, the game is going to come easy to him, and he's going to get it back going. And as long as he's solid, I'm shooting around 43, 44% for three. I think that's all you need from Klay. 12 points, shooting 43% from three. That's the type of production you need for Klay. But I think Nigel Marshall, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Lively with having more experience under his belt, having a deep postseason run. J Kidd actually get to have Gafford and PJ Washington for a whole season. I just think Dallas is primed and ready, you guys, and I think they're gonna win it all. Um, and just to give you an aspect, y'all. Just to give you an aspect, I see a lot of people looking at SGA. Don't get it twisted. OKC had the best off season with Caruso against Isaiah Hartenstein, and they're basically bringing all that talent back, and they got him better. You basically upgraded Josh Giddey to Alex Caruso. That's a hell of an upgrade. You're getting a better defender. You're getting again a guy that's more consistent shooting the three ball. So you're getting shooting in another legit defender. And then when Isaiah Hartenstein got one of the best floating games in the league as a big man, this man hit 15-foot floaters, man. Great on the boards. He plays big. That was that resolves one of the issues that they had. As great as Chet is going to be down the line, I really believe that Isaiah Hartenstein is gonna fill that void and to get of those rebounds that they wasn't getting against Dallas, because Dallas killed them on second chance points, and that's just how it is. Hey, Hitman, yeah, do-rag game today, boy. Do-rag game today, Hitman. Do-rag game today, man. I'm on my do-rag shit. Man, I pull out this styrofoam for you. So I'm on my do-rag shit, so I'm on demon time when I'm sipping on that 1738. So I'm on demon time. That's why I got this do-rag on. But I really believe though, the top three teams in the West, y'all, I believe is going to be Dallas Mavericks, Oklahoma City Thunder, and a lot of people go sleep on this, and a lot of people not gonna agree with me. But this third team that I'm gonna pick, I'm putting the Denver Nuggets right back in the mix. I really believe that they're going to bounce back. I think Russ is going to be a positive, go bring a positive aspect to the Denver Nuggets. Something Denver hasn't had in a while. They haven't had a lot of energy coming off that bench. And I think Russ fills that void, and I think Russ can actually be Russ. And I think if any coach gonna maximize Russ at this point in his career, I think Mike Malone will. Even though it's been rumblings, Mike Malone in the front office, I just think Joker still gonna play at the elite high level, and Jamal Murray will be healthy. And by Russell Westbrook being on that roster, At times you don't have to play Jamal Murray big minutes earlier in the season. And a lot of people sleeping on Denver, but I think they're gonna be the third seed. Not saying they're gonna make a deep postseason round. Not saying they're gonna win it all because I got the Mavericks winning it all. But Denver's gonna still be in the mix. Of course, my dark horse in the Western Conference, y'all. I got them as the fifth seed. My Memphis Grizzlies. I think we got the rookie of the year. Zach Edey, y'all. It's gonna be my rookie. Is my rookie of the year. I'm being biased, true. But we got the rookie of the year in Zach Edey, and we got the comeback player of the year, y'all, and John Morant. It's gonna be back in the fold, and John Morant actually may be a top five MVP candidate. I think he's gonna have a better year than Jalen Brunson. I know a lot of people have on Jalen Brunson, but I think John Morant is gonna have a better year than him. And I think his impact for the Memphis Grizzlies is gonna be greatly felt. And honestly, you guys, we may lose. We may. I think our ceiling is the second round though, because I think it's too many talented teams in the West. I don't think that we could beat OKC in the 7-game series. I don't think that we could beat Dallas in the 7K. Dallas actually own us. But I'm gonna tell you who don't want no smoke with us in the first round though. If we play the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round, we send the Minnesota ass home. Memphis Grizzlies, we send the Minnesota ass home. Cause one thing about the last time we had them, they choked. Anthony Edwards choked, and John Morant cooked his ass, and we sent the Timberwolves home. And I'm telling you now, that's gonna be the rivalry. That's gonna carry. That's gonna carry the NBA. Ant-Man versus John Morant, man. Versus 12, man. Ant versus 12, man. That's gonna carry the NBA, y'all. I'm telling y'all now. And the Wolves, the Wolves ain't howling for shit. The Wolves took a step back. I think Julius Randle is good for the regular season, but postseason, you know he's not gonna do shit. Now, don't get it twisted. I love the draft picks. I love Terrence Shannon Jr. And I love Dillingham. But here's the problem with Terrence Shannon Jr. though. That is going to affect him. That DiVincenzo move is going to affect Terrence Shannon Jr. to the point he's not going to get as many minutes as he probably would have got. I think I think that got in the way of that growth that you could have saw from him. I think that got in the way of that potential that I believe he was going to bring for the Timberwolves. But Dillingham, though, that's the guy they're going to need to produce immediately because Mike Conley's still solid, but you still need that elite scoring ability from that point guard position sometimes when they key in on Ant-Man, when McDaniel's not hitting this shot. Mike Conley, he's solid, but he's not a guy that's going to get you the 18 to 25 points if you need it. He's not going to do that. So if Dillingham can develop into that type of guy that they can rely on when Ant-Man has an off night or when Minnesota shooting bad for the field, Minnesota can be dangerous. So really, I think it's gonna be dependent upon the development of Dillingham because they gonna have to move on from Mike Conley sooner or later. Mike Conley is not gonna be able to play those major minutes that he's been playing, and I think Dillingham he's gonna have to develop immediately and very fast. He's gonna have to contribute very fast. So I think Rob Dillingham, I think that his production is gonna be needed this year for Minnesota. And we know Ant-Man is gonna bring it. We know McDaniel's gonna be one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. We understand that. Alexander Walker, great off the bench. We understand all that. Nas Reed, he's gonna get his opportunity. So we gonna see whether he's a monster or not finally. So we gonna see that, but I still believe though. I still believe they take it a step back though. And I got and I got them being the fourth seed, Minnesota Timberwolves. So when it comes out to filling out the rest of it, I'm gonna tell y'all it's gonna be right there in the midst of the sixth seed, y'all. I'm going with the Sacramento Kings. I think the Sacramento Kings with DeMar DeRozan was a big move. They were missing that. They didn't have a wing that was reliable last year in that small forward position. They really couldn't rely on that. And when Malik Monk did get hurt, they didn't have nobody to replace that production. And that severely hurt the Kings. And that severely put immense pressure on De'Aaron Fox. So I think The move with DeRozan, he's the guy that's gonna get you 20. He's a bucket getter. There's no stopping it. But I think the Kings would be better. I think they would be solid, and I think that move, even though I don't think they're gonna make a deep postseason run, but I got them as a 6 seed. The 7 seed though, I got the New Orleans Pelicans. I think the New Orleans Pelicans, they got the talent to do it. I don't know what they gonna do with Brandon Ingram. That's still a question mark for the New Orleans Pelicans. They got Javante Murray, which was a big move, which was needed. But that's still a small backcourt with Javante Murray and C.J. McCollum. Brandon Ingram, of course, Zion lost the weight. He looks in shape for the first time in his career. But they are very small, though. They don't have a lot of size, and I think that's going to hurt them. But they got the talent to be one of the best scoring teams in the NBA. I think they could defend well. I think they're gonna be able to defend on a high level on the perimeter. But they always hover around between 6 and 9 anyway, the 6 and 9 seed anyway. So they're gonna be around the same thing. But I got them as my 7 seed in the West, and that's just the bottom damn line. And my 8 seed, y'all, the San Antonio Spurs. Wemby is coming. Wemby is going to be the defensive player of the year. Wemby is going to insert himself in MVP conversations. And I want you guys to think about this, that this is not far-fetched. Wemby averaged 20 points, over 10 rebounds, 3.8 blocks a game on minutes restriction. He was on minutes restriction last year. So imagine they let him loose. They up his minutes to 35 minutes a game. You got a seasoned vet in Chris Paul. Whether people believe it or not, Chris Paul's still one of the best point guards in the NBA. Is he the same? No. But I believe with Chris Paul over there, with the brilliant minds of CP3 and Greg Popovich, with how they go set up Wemby go get some of the easiest buckets in the NBA due to the fact of Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul is motivated because everybody is counting him out. The last time we counted out Chris Paul is when he went to OKC, and you seen what happened there. Chris Paul was solely the reason why SGA ended up elevated to the level he elevated to, and there was no looking back for SGA. He helped get SGA that confidence, and he helped SGA to get to that degree of that potential that everybody thought SGA had. So don't sleep on Chris Paul and the San Antonio Spurs with one of the best young players, if not the best young player in the league, in Wemby. So don't sleep on the Spurs. That's my 8 seed. The 9 seed, y'all, I got the Los Angeles Lakers. 10 seed, I got the Phoenix Suns. The play-in is gonna be interesting. I think one of those teams are not going to make the playoffs. And in all honesty, I think the Los Angeles Lakers won't make the playoffs this year. I think the Suns will ultimately win that play-in spot, and they'll probably get the 7 seed taking over New Orleans, and the Spurs gonna end up getting that 8 seed. I think the Lakers, days are numbered. I think certain things that they did wrong for us with, even though LeBron deserves that, and Brandon Cass, Phoenix is not no damn top 3 seed in the West, man. You are out your damn mind. You really are out your damn mind, man. You really are crazy. You really acting a fool right now, man. Not already, Brandon Cass, man. You done came back from the dead, and you talk about the Phoenix Suns gonna be a top 3 seed. Are you out your fucking mind? I love Tyrus Jones. He was great in Memphis as a backup point guard. You can't expect no damn backup point guard to elevate the Suns to a top 3 seed because they finally got a point guard. He never played starter minutes like that, man. What the hell you talking about, man? Tell us some goddamn Budenholzer. There was a reason Budenholzer got fired. Man, Phoenix will not be top 3 in the West, man. Their day is a number. They defensively was gonna be a problem, bro. Defensively is gonna be a problem. And Clipper fans, y'all bitch ass is not making the playoffs. Y'all might as well hang this shit up and enjoy your arena selling out because people enjoying the festivities in that new arena. They ain't coming to the games to support y'all sorry asses. They coming to the games because they want to see what the damn arena about. If I'm a Clipper fan, that's all you going there for, to enjoy the experience of the arena. You're not going there to watch the shit show that the Clippers are having going on. The Clippers not even gonna make the playoffs. Hell, they ain't even gonna be a top 12 team in the West, man. They hanging their hats on what happened in the preseason. That's preseason, dog. You can't hang your hat on what happens in the preseason, man. In the East 06, I'm not praying on the Lakers' downfall. Niggas still owe me money off the year when I told niggas that the Lakers wasn't gonna make the playoffs. So I mean, at the end of the day, the Lakers, I don't think they bad, but I just think the West is so talented and so deep. The Lakers really never filled the voids that they needed. They didn't get another big man alongside Anthony Davis. Now, don't get it twisted. I like Dalton. Dalton can play though. I like Dalton Kit that came from Tennessee and that's playing for the Lakers now. He's gonna be legit. I like that. But defensively, they're gonna be one of the bottom teams in the league defensively. There's only so much that Anthony Davis could do for us being the anchor of that defense. When you don't have perimeter defense, man, it's gonna be hard. And the Lakers not winning between 47 and 50 games. They're not. They not. JJ Redick don't know what the hell he doing. They sacrifice roster spots for, of course, LeBron's son. And guess what? LeBron got enough cachet that he could pull that stunt. Let me get that out the way. You guys, y'all know me as a guy that really doesn't give a shit about LeBron James. They really don't care about him. We really don't care about what LeBron James does. To be honest, I don't. But if anybody deserves to pull some rank and to pull a move and to basically say, hey, I need this done, LeBron James has a right to use his flex his power and to get his son on the roster. It ain't nothing wrong with that. Some people go flex their muscle, some people ain't. So in end of the day, I don't see nothing wrong with that. Now, can Bronny James play? Hell no. He's not an NBA player. He's not ready, bro. He's not ready. He's not ready at all. And Phoenix is not as good defensively, bro. They not. So Brandon Katz, you cook yourself like all the time, bro. And you riding the Phoenix Suns wave. Are you gonna learn your lesson? Kevin Durant hasn't done a damn thing since Golden State. He wouldn't be a champion if it wasn't for Stephen Curry. And here's the sad part. I ain't even mentioned the Warriors making the playoffs as well. But I am going to put it like this. The Warriors are a team to watch out for, though. Because they have no expectations. And they're playing with house money. And that's dangerous. Coming from you got a guy like Stephen Curry on their sideline, on their court, with no expectations. So they're playing with house money. Golden State can't make some noise. They can't easily overtake my prediction with the Spurs getting that final spot. The Warriors can easily get that. But I think the Warriors and Lakers are going somewhere through the same things. They really don't have an identity. They missing key parts of their roster to compete on a high level night in and night out. And I just think the era of the 2010 guys, for LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Stephen Curry, their days are over. It's a wrap. They not winning shit else. They had their time. Their last blaze in glory is bringing home that gold medal this past Olympics. Bring home that gold medal this past Olympics is going to be their last enjoyment of coming out on top and then winning. It's over with for that. It's a young player league now. These guys are dominating. These guys are getting better. It's just a new day, new era, and it bees like that sometimes, y'all. And we gotta respect it, and we gotta take it for what it is, y'all. That's just how it is. So we gotta be cool, and we gotta understand. Take the fanboy shit out of your heart. There's nothing wrong with celebrating greatness, but we don't have to lie about it either. Stephen Curry, great. He's not winning another championship. Warriors not going to compete. LeBron James, great. One of the greatest players I ever lace him up. Not going to win another damn ring. It's over with. Kevin Durant, one of the greatest scorers that we ever seen on the court. Not going to win anything else. They just not going to do it. And take up upon. See, you read about individual accomplishments. Them niggas not winning shit else. Their impacts on their teams is not as great as they used to be. It's not. And it shows. I guess, and honestly, the only guy that I see that still have a little bit left in the tank that make a push the envelope is Stephen Curry. Outside of that, that days are over. And we sometimes got to accept it. And I see guys I take up upon don't want to accept it. But I'm going to move on to the Eastern Conference. And I picked the Spurs for a reason, bro. And take them upon. If you want to bet some money, I don't mind taking your money. But the Eastern Conference, the Celtics, the defending champs, they're the class of the East. They are coming at the East. They are coming. They are damn near coming back out the East. They go at least make the Eastern Conference Finals again, because that's one thing the Celtics do. They at least going to make the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't give a damn what anybody says. I don't like Boston. I called in the Jim Crow Celtics for crying out loud. But guess what? The Jim Crow Celtics always find a way to get their ass in the Eastern Conference Finals or more. They always do that. Shit. But in my opinion, though, the Eastern Conference Finals will be the Boston Celtics versus the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. But guess what? It's a question mark around the league right now. Will Giannis insert himself back into the conversation of being one of the most dominant players in the league? And can he propel and uplive to his greatness to get Milwaukee back competing for titles again? So that could be a dark horse in the Eastern Conference. I can't believe you call him a dark. I call him a dark horse, but I believe that Giannis may have an opportunity to get the Bucks to compete for a title again. Can he do it? Now, do we have one of the worst coaches of all time in the playoffs was choking leads? And Doc Rivers, yeah. Do we got a guy, Dame Lillard, that we seen the Portland Trail Blazers was up 20 points in each game against the Warriors and blew those 20-point leads 4 straight times? And Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant missed the whole series, and Stephen Curry missed multiple games. And the Golden State Warriors basically came back for 20 each game with the Klay Thompson-led Warriors. Can we trust Dame and Doc Rivers? I honestly don't think so. But with Giannis, with his greatness, with his focus, will he motivate himself enough to put the Milwaukee Bucks by the title contention? Or will Giannis be so frustrated with Doc Rivers? Will Giannis be so frustrated with Dame Lillard that it's rumors that they are floating around that Giannis could get traded, that Giannis may ask for a trade out of Milwaukee? And now we got to guess what would his destinations be. Where would Giannis want to go if he's that dissatisfied with what Milwaukee is doing? What team can he help right away? What team can he push over the hump and make them elite contenders? Can he get traded to Golden State and help Stephen Curry ride to the sunset and compete for titles again? Can that happen? Will Milwaukee give Giannis what he wants? I don't know. It's yet to be seen. Or will this team finally break the curse of getting out the second round? The Philadelphia 76ers. Can Joel Embiid, you guys, finally get over the hump? Finally get the Sixers past the second round because he got some help now. He has Paul George. Tyrese Maxey got another year under his belt, one of the young, bright stars in the guard position in the league. You got Paul George, a guy that's solid, a guy that took a lot of criticism, a guy that basically got most of the blame for the Clippers, even though he was one of Main reasons that the Clippers made it to their first Western Conference Finals in franchise history. But Paul George get all the hate. So when Paul George used that as motivation to help Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers get past the second round finally. Here's the thing. I don't think the Sixers are better than the Knicks, and I don't think the Sixers are better than the Celtics. So either way it go, whether they're the fourth seed or whether they end up being the second or third seed, 9 times out of 10, you are facing the Celtics and the Knicks in the first round. So, the second round, So the 76ers, you're probably going home again in the second round. And guess what, Joel Embiid? You're going to go through another season not making it past the second round. But I am going to say that Joel Embiid is getting too much disrespect. Joel Embiid is getting downplayed due to the fact that they say he's not reliable. He never be on the court. But guess what Embiid does? He plays hurt. He give it his all. And guess what? He actually showed up last playoffs. Just nobody else came with him. Nobody else showed up with him. That's why Philly lost. But I just think Philly are not better than the Knicks or are not better than the Celtics. So they are not making the conference finals. The ceiling is the second round. Is it a damn shame? Yes. Coach Joel Embiid, when healthy, is actually a top 3 player in the NBA. Would actually be in the conversation. Honestly, if he was healthy, the MVP race would be Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, and Joel Embiid. Those would be the 3. Now, Giannis will have an argument if he stays healthy. But let's go hurt Giannis at the end of the day, though. You got Doc Rivers as your coach, and you got one of the worst defending point guards in the NBA in Damian Lillard. So you in the bad spot. You have no perimeter defense in the Milwaukee Bucks. So it's going to put you in situations, Giannis, that you might get in foul trouble, that you're going to be playing out of position a lot. You're going to have to do too much. But let's not sleep on a team that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. Can the Indiana Pacers have something to say about that? They are a team. They did beat the New York Knicks. But the Knicks didn't have Cat. The Knicks was missing 5 players. The Knicks wasn't healthy. But Pascal Siakam, this is going to be his first full season with Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers. And they got a young core as well. They are well coached. Will the Indiana Pacers make noise in the East? Will they actually upset the teams that makes a noise? It's a possibility. But I'm going to say this like I said about Philly. I think Boston and the Knicks are on a whole nother level. But I am going to give you one young team, you guys, that got the athletes, that got the talent. They are well coached as well, that can mess around and upset the Knicks or the Celtics. I'm high on the Orlando Magic. I think the Orlando Magic could upset a lot of these teams in the East. I think the Orlando Magic, because they got another year under their belt with their great coach, with the great talent that they got over there, with Pablo developing. I think Pablo is actually going to take a step and be a legit all-star this year. I think he's going to be one of the best big men in the NBA. I think the Orlando Magic, for us the talent-wise, for us what they could do defensively, I think they can make it difficult on the New York Knicks. Most definitely, especially on the New York Knicks. I think the Orlando Magic will most definitely get the Boston Celtics fits. We've seen the Orlando Magic get the Celtics fit in the regular season. Now, does everything in the regular season translate to postseason? No. But just from a matchup and a schematic standpoint, the Orlando Magic would be one of the toughest matchups for the Celtics due to personnel, because the Magic got the personnel to match up with Boston. They kind of got what Boston have. They got a lot of defenders. They got a lot. They got a lot of talent over there that's athletic, that can defend. Is that offense bad? Can it get better? Yes, it can get better. It needs improvement. but their defense is going to keep them in every game. The defense is going to have them compete night in and night out. And like I said, with that bright young talent, I think they can compete on a high level. It's just that all those young players going to develop more offensively. That is yet to be seen, and this season will truly show. Um, but we just gotta call it how it is. The Cleveland Cavaliers. I think they go. I think they go. They probably go see Orlando with Philly in the first round. But Cleveland is a first round exit. I think they are what they are. I think Cleveland will have to most definitely probably have to trade Donovan Mitchell, man. I think they're gonna have to move on from that. And I think they're gonna have to start over. I think Cleveland are what they are. Um, they got a cool team, but I just think that they just not great. I think Donovan Mitchell, his game doesn't translate into team success. I think if Donovan Mitchell was like a second option, I think he'll be far better suited. But as your best player, though, I don't think Donovan Mitchell would be the right guy for any franchise in the NBA to be the number one guy. His ceiling will always be the second round. Because when you play against a team that can scheme for you, that can make things a little more difficult for you to beat you to your spots, that send certain looks at them. I just think end of the day, I think Cleveland, that Donovan Mitchell will always have a hard time against the well coached teams. So hey, hey, but I'm just laughing because I saw something. But I just think the Cavs, Donovan Mitchell is not a number one in my opinion. I think Donovan Mitchell would be a great number two. I think if he was in that role, I think you would see a better Donovan Mitchell. I think you would see a more elusive Donovan Mitchell, and he'll be more effective as a scorer. But with him being the number one, hell, Cleveland first round exit, they won't make it through. It just is what it is with that notion. With people sleeping on the Eastern Conference saying that they not deep, they are very deep. They do have the talent. They do have top nose talent. Those teams can compete on a regular basis, in my opinion. I just believe though. I just believe though the West is just on a whole nother level this year. Like you remember in the 2000s, y'all, it took you 50 wins just to make it to the playoffs in the West. I think the West is just in that situation. You're gonna see a lot of teams in between the 44 and 47 win column in the Western Conference, and I think it's gonna be toss ups amongst all those teams in between the 44 and 47 win column, and you're gonna see a lot of crazy stuff going on. But I just think y'all, with how I feel, with what I think y'all, Luca, he's the man. That's my MVP. Wemby, my defensive player of the year. My comeback player of the year is John Morant. My rookie of the year is Zach Edey. My sixth man of the year, y'all. That's something I've been thinking about. That's something that's been tough for me. Um, I've been thinking about this hard, y'all, and I really can't figure it out. But I think the sixth man of the year, y'all, is coming out of Boston. Um, Unforgettable Bulls, Miami Heat. They gonna be a bottom feeder team in the East. I think they gonna be seventh or eighth seed. Are they dangerous when they play the Celtics? Yeah, but outside, can they beat the Knicks? Cause that's a rivalry. Yeah, but I don't think the Heat will compete. Like I said, I just think it's between the Celtics and the Knicks. At the end of the day, the Celtics are the favorites in the East, but I won't be surprised if the Knicks make it. Uh, and that's just how I feel. But anybody can hop on the panel. I already know Brandon Katz go disagree because he feel like the Suns are a top three seed. I would be intrigued and interested to see what he's going to say about the Suns. But the Suns, they not it, bro. They just not it. They not better than Dallas. They're not better than OKC. They not better than Minnesota. Minnesota showed you that last year how Minnesota punked out the Suns from start to finish for crying out loud. The Grizzlies are back. They gonna be back rolling. especially if they stay healthy and John Morant stays out of trouble and stays healthy. You got a lot of great teams, man. The Lakers. I think the Lakers are even better than the Phoenix Suns. To be honest, I think the Lakers. I think the Lakers would kick the Suns' ass. That it just is what it is. And Brandon Cash, you could be big on that, but Kevin Durant days of winning are over. Kevin Durant will probably ask for a trade. And I won't be surprised if Kevin Durant try to join a guy that you dissing in Wemby. I won't be surprised if Kevin Durant say, man, trade me to the Spurs. Let me go to Texas because I did go to the University of Texas. Let me join up with Wemby and let me ride the wave of the young bull at Wemby and let me play for the Spurs. I won't be surprised if Kevin Durant asks for that trade. Because Kevin Durant ain't going to win shit at Phoenix. As long as you got Devin Booker there. A guy that cries about double teams. A guy in big moments that would disappear. A guy that got punked out for start to finish against Anthony Edwards. They killed the Jaden McDaniels, didn't even let Devin Booker breathe out there. Anthony Edwards was calling KD's bluff the whole series. Rudy Gobert was swatting shit the whole series. Nas Reed off the bench killed any bench player that the Suns have. The Suns are not going to get out the first round, bro. If they make the playoffs, they losing in the first damn round. And like I said, they get out to a bad start. Kevin fucking Durant will ask for a trade, and I won't be surprised he go to the Spurs and join Wemby. Brandon Katz. Kevin Durant might be a Spur because he loved to stack the deck or love the team hop. He the biggest team hopper in the NBA for crying out loud, especially when things don't go his way. We talk about LeBron, but y'all don't keep the same energy with Kevin Durant. And y'all don't keep the same energy with Kawhi Leonard either. Y'all like to talk about Joel Embiid being hurt. Y'all don't never talk about Kawhi Leonard, Kiwi Lemonade. Y'all don't talk about him. He needs to retire. He's stealing money from all of us. Whoever got NBA League Pass, he's stealing money from you. Whoever done bought a damn Clippers jersey, y'all the dumbest goddamn fans in the NBA. I wouldn't even buy anything Kawhi Leonard. Why I'm going to buy something from a nigga that ain't going to be on the court? Why I'm going to support a nigga that don't be on the court, man? That's just how it is, bro. Why I'm going to do that, man? Ryan Dunn, you expect a guy that was projected to be a second-round pick, a guy that went to the University of Virginia, Ryan Dunn. He was getting cooked left and right in the ACC. You expect him to have the impact for the Suns to the point where they'd be a top 3 seed? Y'all are out y'all damn mind. But shout out to my brother P5 in the building, man. Salute to your brother. What's your predictions on the season? And am I crazy for saying that Luka is going to be MVP? Am I crazy for saying that the Mavs are going back to the NBA Finals and winning it?
I don't think you're crazy for saying those things. I would just disagree because it's not crazy though. Could Luka win an MVP? He absolutely could. I mean, with how the media votes on the MVP, puts up numbers, the Mavs are probably going to be a higher seed in the West. Yeah, I can see them winning MVP. That's not crazy. Could they make it back to the finals? I don't think that's a crazy take either. It's just I think it's going to be the Thunder. That's the thing. I think the Thunder are going to make it out of the West. You're not crazy for saying that, though. I just disagree.
And P5 with the Thunder thing, though, I think it'll be dependent upon Chet's development, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chet, will he actually take his game to the next level? If he's still the same level that he was at last year, no, they won't make it. But if he stepped his game up and got stronger and got better on the boards, and he's asserted himself as a better offensive player, yes, I see the OKC being a legit threat and making it to the finals.
I think offensively, he should be fine because his role in the offense, I don't think, especially this year, is not going to be as any type of really creator. It's spacing the floor and just kind of playing within his role. Defensively, he's one of the best in the NBA already. And when it comes to his strength and his rebounding, even if that hasn't improved, the addition of Isaiah Hartenstein, I think, is what really put that team over the top because
yeah, I think that move.
I think last year with their shooting, I don't think that's going to repeat itself. That team is too good of a
Caruso
shooting
fixed that
team.
issue too, though. Caruso fixed that issue
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. That
Because
team is.
Josh Giddey couldn't shoot at all, really.
Yeah, that team is too good of a shooting team to have what happened to them last year happen again. Their biggest problem was their interior and how they're going to be able to grab rebounds. Defensive rebounding might still be tough. Hartenstein's not all that great at that, but we'll see how he does for the Thunder because last year the reason he didn't get defensive rebounds is because he was aggressively chasing down blocks and he wasn't really around the rim.
But P5, but do you have a concern, though? Because Hartenstein is injured right now. Do you have a concern for that, him being out for the first 6 weeks of the regular season?
Obviously, there's concern with how that team's going to gel together when it comes to the playoffs, but I think they'll be fine. I think the fit is seamless between those two. I think it is, honestly. If it's not going to end, but if it's not the Thunder, I think it would be the Mavericks making it to the finals because I think that's either going to be a definite second round matchup or a conference finals matchup for sure.
Yeah, I agree. How you feel about the Dallas Mavericks additions? Because they got Dinwiddie, they got Nigel Marshall, a good wing from the Pelicans. They used to play for the Pelicans. How you feel about their moves in the offseason? I know they got Klay Thompson. That was their big addition, but they made some low key moves as well to the point that they upgraded for Derrick Jones. They got another ball handler that's coming off the bench, and Dinwiddie. Hardy done developed and inserted himself as a crucial guy that could come off the bench. And now you got a full year with Gafford and PJ Washington. How you feel about the Mavs?
I like the Mavericks. I think the addition of Najee Marshall is a seamless replacement for Derrick Jones. The Dinwiddie thing, I mean, if he can just be an extra spacer, an extra ball handler whenever, they need to give Kyrie some rest or maybe give him some off games, maybe he'll get minutes in the playoffs. And Dinwiddie strikes me as a guy that can maybe have like a hot stretch for a little bit. I don't really see Dinwiddie as a consistent piece in the rotation, or at least come playoff time. And then when we get to what was it? What was the other? Yeah, then we get to Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's a great addition. I think Klay Thompson fits right next to Luka seamlessly. I love that fit with Klay Thompson offensively. Defensively, I don't think he really adds a whole lot anymore. That's why you add Najee Marshall, who I think is a pretty solid defender. But yeah, I think the Mavericks are going to be really good. PJ Washington and Gafford being there for a full year. Derek Lively maybe even getting a little bit better, with just the smaller things in his game. So I like the Mavericks. I'm a big fan of what Dallas can do this year. Big fan.
Most definitely, bro. How you feel about Minnesota? Do you believe they took a step back? Because I believe they did. I believe, honestly, they did. And I think that DiVincenzo got to hold back the young rookie that I thought that was going to help Minnesota immediately.
Dillingham?
And Terrence Shannon Jr.
Oh, okay.
The wing from Illinois that they had. I feel like DiVincenzo is going to take away his minutes. So how you feel about Minnesota? Do you think they're taking a step back, or do you think they're still going to be where they was at last year?
I think they took a step back. I think Cat and Randall are similarly like tiered players, but when it comes to their play styles and how Cat fits next to Ant compared to Randall and Gobert, I don't love the fit. I mean, I think you could argue that Randall's probably an even worse defender than Cat, especially for what Cat was doing last year. Cat's a good, strong post defender. And Cat had the versatility to guard on the perimeter to an extent. And that's something that Randall doesn't have. Was Cat great at those things? No, but did Cat take a?
He was solid. He was just solid.
Yeah. Cat definitely took up from horrible to solid. Randall, I think, is still a really, really bad defender. I don't like Randall's game. I don't think it really fits next to Ant. DiVincenzo's a good ad. I think DiVincenzo helps them a lot when they get to the playoffs because they'll be a playoff team. Their defense should still be fine.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
I just don't really know how confident I am in the fit with Randall and Edwards, especially long term. But the reason they made that deal was to get off of a Cat's salary and to pick up a younger asset. So I think the Timberwolves are looking more towards the future with this one, especially because they have a Gobert extension coming up or they have a Gobert player option coming up. So, yeah, they have a lot of things to worry about. And
Randall do got that expiring deal, so that could work in Minnesota.
Yeah, so that's why they made the deal. They're looking a bit towards the future, which is fine. I mean, I think the way Minnesota looks at it, that team with Cat, Edwards, and Gobert had an obvious ceiling. And is only 21, 22 years old. Gobert's contract is like maybe a couple years off because he'll pick up that player option. Randall's contract isn't really long term. So yeah, they're looking towards the future, and I don't hate the move for that reason. But when it comes to contending this season, I don't think it's going to help them all that much. No.
And how you feel about Brandon Katz saying that the Phoenix Suns would be a top 3 team in the West? Do you agree with Brandon Katz?
No, I disagree. I don't think that team is burst. I don't think that team has many variables to be a top 3 seed. Unless teams just get hurt, I guess I could see that. But when I'm looking at that team, I see a team that could still be a really, really good offensive team. I like that team offensively. That team defensively will always be just a stepping stone for other teams. When you're starting a guy like Yusuf Nurkic, right? When you add a guy like Tyus Jones to the roster, when your best defenders in your starting lineup are guys like Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, which are fine defenders, they're fine. But for those to be like some of your best defenders while also being the highest volume or highest usage offensive players, that's not really a recipe for success. For success, right? It's just not. And with how tough the Western Conference is and how deep it is, and just given, what I expect from the Suns, which is for neither one of those two to play full seasons, or maybe Booker, but for KD not to play a full season, which is just kind of how his career is trending right now. When you just add that into it, there's no way they'll be a top 3 seed. I just don't see it happening. I think they are undeniably not as good as the Thunder. It's inarguable that they're not better than the Mavericks. Or that they are. You see what I'm saying, Herm? Like,
yeah. I think they're still
the Thunder are a far better team than them. The Mavericks are a far better team than them. I would still take Denver over them.
Me too.
I would still take Minnesota over them. I would still take the Pelicans even over them, maybe at this point, even. Yeah, and I'm not that big of a New Orleans guy. I would take Sacramento over them. Like, I think the Lakers are a better team than the Suns. I just don't think the Suns are all that great of a team. I really don't. I just don't think they're all that good. They have no depth. They don't have any versatility. I'm not a fan of them. I'm just not.
Let me tell Brandon Cash that Brandon Cash, your audio is messed up, so fix your audio right quick, and Sturdy will let you in immediately because you have an audio issue. So once you fix your audio part of it, Sturdy will let you in, so you could try to explain why in the hell you got the Phoenix Suns as a top 3 team in the West. I think that's crazy. I think you really out of line with that. But P5, do you believe is it finally the next year to make it at least to the NBA Finals? I'm not saying they're gonna win it, but can you see them making it to the finals?
Is it possible for them to make it to the NBA Finals? It's possible. I think the Knicks have. I think this is the best team the Knicks have had in forever. Yep. Right. I think that the Knicks are versatile. They have wings. They have guards that can guard. They have big men. They have shooting. They have Jalen Brunson, who I do truly believe probably at this point probably can be the best scorer on a team that can make it deep. When you add Cat into that, when you add Bridges, when you add Anunoby, that team has the versatility to compete with anybody. I think they can. I think they can make the finals. Will they make the finals? I would still take Boston over them, but yeah. I think it's reasonable. It's possible for sure.
What up, huh?
What's happening, my brother? What's happening, man? What's your thoughts, man? How you feel about? Do you got any predictions? Who you feel gonna win MVP? Who you think gonna be the best out the West, the best out the East? And who you seeing being the dark horses? P5 could expand on the dark horses in the East and the West as well. I think my dark horse in the West, I told everybody I got the Spurs as my dark horse in the West. In the East, it's kind of crazy, but I got the Magic as my dark horse in the East, though.
That's a good pick. My dark horse out West would be my Houston Rockets.
I feel you, man. Feel you,
and then me and you are on the same page out East. I think Orlando had a good year last year. They tasted a little bit of winning. They kind of know what it takes. Got off to a very good start. I think Pablo takes the next step. I watched him play in person last year. But he's a stud. And so I think they get better. I think MVP, the typical guys, bro. Luka, Giannis.
I think Luka finally gets it this year.
I think Luka or Giannis and only because in today's NBA and with today's biased voters, these dudes who don't know shit about basketball sit in a quiet room and watch a computer all day and look at numbers and analytics, and so they can't expand their brains to think about other players, and so it's going to be the same guys, right? Tatum, Luka, SGA, guys like that. You know what I'm saying? And so MVP, bro. Joker, bro. So really, man, all these individual awards, bro, I can care less about because it to me, it literally to me has no weight. Like I don't expect old dudes who don't know shit about basketball voting for these awards. I mean, it's a biased award. So I think a team to look out for, and I'm here in the city of Sacramento. They're going to be a much better.
How you feel about the DeRozan move, by the way?
Well, it gives them another guy in the fourth quarter that they can go to. If Darren doesn't get it going, if Sabonis doesn't have it going, they can give it. They can literally give it to DeMar and say, here you go make a play. They got Keegan. They're going to be a tough team to stop offensively. I will be honest, defensively, I don't think their issues are solved. But they're going to score a lot of points. They're going to score a lot of points. And so the thing is, can you stop them in the fourth quarter? And so I think they're going to be a tough team during the season because night in and night out, most teams don't get up night in and night out. But in the postseason, I see them getting bounced early because when team can scheme for you, then easier to beat you. Last point of order. I totally disagree with P5. He's one of those guys I'm talking about that don't know shit about basketball. He had the gall to say, Tyus Jones on the Phoenix Suns, something about moving the needle or what. Bro, like, Tyus Jones can run the NBA offense. Like, at one point, Tyus Jones in Memphis was the best backup point guard, and he could be trusted to run an offense. And so now what that does is it takes that pathetic turnover machine, the worst fourth quarter offense in the league, the Phoenix Suns. It takes the ball out of KD's hands, out of Booker's hands, out of Bill's hands, and you put the ball in a guy who you can say, go run the offense, and now you're playing Devin and Kevin off pin downs and screens and flares. I mean, their offense is going to be so much better in the fourth quarter. One thing we do agree on is that the Suns' defense sucks. And so, can they be a top 3 seed? Probably not, because I don't think they defend enough.
Well, then you agree with me. What the fuck are you doing? You agree with me?
No, it's a dumb take to say that Phoenix can't be a top 3 seed because of defense. Hold on, because if you look at the West, outside of Minnesota and OKC, there are no good defensive teams in the West other than OKC and Minnesota.
Come on, Brandon.
We agree.
I'm almost done. No. I said one thing that we agree on, because you're not listening to me, is that the defense does suck. But Tyus Jones, for sure, is a sneaky move for that team because they needed let me finish, bro, please. They needed a guy to come in and just run their offense. Like, we all agree. Like, in the fourth quarter, Devin and Kevin cannot run an offense efficiently. They turn the ball over. They don't handle double teams and traps very well, and they don't get good shots in the fourth quarter. Now you bring in Tyus Jones, and I think we agree as well. Kevin and Devin are at their best when they're coming off pin down screens and flares off the basketball, going towards the basketball. Going towards the rim. And so that's all I'm saying here. And so listen. I mean, I don't think the Phoenix Suns are going to be worried about being a top 3 seed. Last point. Let me finish, bro. Their thing is this. Can they be healthy to make a deep postseason run? And so that's it. Can they be clicking on all cylinders late in the season? Everybody's healthy. And can they play good enough defense and get stops when they can, which is going to be tough to do because, like you said, they're just softer than baby shit. And so, again, I think the Suns are a top 5, 6 seed, but, again, I think they get bounced early again next year. Or this season.
Real quick, Herm.
Yeah, go ahead, P5. Before Brandon
I just clear this up with you, Moss. I have no problem with the Tyus Jones addition when it comes to what he does for their offense. I like Tyus Jones. I think he does help them. I agree with you on that, Moss. I never said I hated Tyus Jones. I think it was a good move. My problem with that team is we agree, Moss,
that they're not going to be a top 3 seed because of their defense, Moss, and because of what that team's motor might look.
So name a team in the West who's good defensive. Wait, name a team in the West who's good defensively other than OKC and Minnesota. Name one.
Dallas?
No, okay. So Dallas has Luka. Luka's one of the worst POA defenders in the league.
Dallas
added Clay. Hold on. No, you're wrong. Dallas added Tyus Jones. Okay, Tyus Jones is not even going to be on the court at the end of games. It's going to be Grayson Allen. Tyus Jones does not make a difference for Phoenix at all. Grayson Allen's going to be on the court at the end of games, not Tyus Jones. But Klay Thompson's one of the worst POA defenders in the league. Luka's one of the worst POA defenders in the league. Dallas is not going to be a good defensive team.
Last year and they still were good.
Right, and they had Derek Jones last year. They had Derek Jones last year. They had Derek Jones last year. Now they have Klay Thompson. And Dallas couldn't defend the top teams. Dallas got destroyed defensively against OKC and Boston.
They beat Minnesota, motherfucker. They beat Minnesota. What are you talking about?
Right, and Minnesota was the 17th ranked offense, you clown. Learn how to talk basketball. The other thing is, when he talks...
You said a top team. They were a top 2 seed, motherfucker, last year. What are you talking about?
Right, and that was in spite of that was not because of offense. It was because of the defense.
You got kind of lie.
No, you're a clown. He's an idiot. He can't talk basketball at all. Anyways, so Maz, since you say Phoenix can't defend at all, Maz, why was Phoenix an above-average defensive team last year if they can't defend at all?
Never said they can't defend. No, that's not what I said.
No, you did. You said Phoenix is going to be horrible defensively. Phoenix was an above-average defensive team last year, and that was with Grayson Allen hurt at the end of the year.
That's not what I said, bro. That's not what I said.
You said Phoenix can't defend anybody.
I said if the Phoenix Suns can get
we can play the clip back for you if you want.
If they can play good enough defense, they may have a chance. But they don't defend well, bro. Those numbers are fucking...
Phoenix was an above-average defensive team last year, and they've added better... Phoenix has far better depth this year. This year, Phoenix has Grayson Allen coming off the bench. Ryan Dunn has looked good. Phoenix was an above-average defensive team last year. So Phoenix isn't going to be a top 10 defense, but they're not going to be some horrific defensive team. And Phoenix should be a top 5 offense this year, too. If Phoenix should be an elite offensive team, that should enable them to set their defense better too. But Phoenix was an above average defense last year, and they have better defensive personnel this season.
We got to be able to fucking have a dialogue, bro. If you're mentioning the Phoenix Suns defense last year, based on where they were ranked at, then you said that they're an above defensive team. Why did you pass the Dallas Mavericks then last year when they were a fucking better defensive team than the Phoenix Suns were?
They were top 5.
You never bashed the Mavericks last year. What are you talking about?
Mavericks
yes, you did. You said Luka doesn't play defense, and they weren't good last year defensively. That's what you said.
No. You didn't listen to what I said. What I said is that
that's exactly what you said.
No. Stop talking. You didn't hear what I said.
That is what you said, bro.
Yo, stop talking. I'll explain to you what I said because you're not responding to what I said.
I'm not done yet, bro.
Shut up.
I'm not done yet.
They have good. Stop talking.
They have fucking rim protection.
You're not even responding. He doesn't even know what I said. He's not listening. What I said is that shut up. What I said is Derek Jones was an important POA defender for Dallas last year. He could guard multiple positions. He was a good perimeter defender. So now they lost Derek Jones, who only got $12 million a year with the Clippers. And Derek Jones shot 12 from 3 in the playoffs last year too. So Najee Marshall can't shoot with the dick. He's not getting major minutes. So now Dallas says Clay. Shut the fuck up. So Dallas added Clay. Clay cannot guard at all. There's no possible way that Dallas is going to be a good defensive team with Clay and Luka both getting major minutes. And Najee Marshall's not a consistent enough shooter to get major time.
He shoots it better than fucking Derek Jones Jr. does.
No, he doesn't. Not in the playoffs.
Yes, he does.
And Derek Jones is a better defender than Najee Marshall too.
He's a better playmaker. And again, the fucking
Najee Marshall's not a fucking playmaker. Buy a TV. Dallas is not going to be able to defend with Clay and Luka.
What are you talking about, bro?
My point is there's only two teams in the West who can defend at a high level. Minnesota and OKC. Denver lost KCP. Dallas lost Derek Jones. There are only two teams in the West.
Nobody. Yeah, go ahead, man.
OKC and Minnesota are the only two top defensive teams in the West.
Who protects their rim for the Phoenix Suns? Who is that guy?
Nurkic ranked 12th in the NBA at rim protection. Nurkic is not a horrible rim protector. Nurkic is nothing special as a rim protector, but Nurkic is not a horrendous rim protector at all.
What are you talking about, bro? He saw the shit.
Phoenix wasn't above average. Again, Phoenix won.
The other thing is your point about
you're an idiot. Your point about Tyus Jones is dumb. Phoenix won 70% of their games with Bradley Beal last year. The issue Phoenix had last year was Frank Vogel was complete trash. He didn't know how to coach offense. He had Durant attacking from the 3-point line. He didn't have any outball movement. Phoenix was an ISO offense last year. And Budenholzer had elite offenses in Atlanta.
If you beat the Phoenix Suns off the dribble, they got no rim protection.
Budenholzer improved Milwaukee's offense a lot too.
You got to
Budenholzer will improve Phoenix's offense a lot. And Phoenix has far better depth this year too.
Oh ass nigga.
Yeah, you don't know basketball. You live off your wife, you little tard. You can't even make a fucking argument. This guy argued that Chris Paul was a better player than James.
Whole ass nigga.
This is why it's 94 feet.
This guy's a fucking bitch whose wife gets him in allowance.
Herm, you mean my mic, bro?
Hey, Brandon.
This guy argued Chris Paul was better than James Harden on Houston.
Brandon, hold on, Brandon, because we got people that be listening. We got NBA guys and everything listen to this shit.
That's his ass, huh? Fucking acting retarded and shit, bro.
Right, he's a clown. I mean, he said he was done talking, then he just rambled and said a bunch of dumb shit. He wouldn't stop talking,
bro. He's doing it again, Herm.
No,
hold on.
He's a clown. He can't talk basketball, so he just talks over everyone.
Wow, this shit's crazy, bro.
Let Maz get his point off. If once Maz is finished, Brandon,
then
we're gonna let you cook. Then you can talk your shit like you do.
Yeah,
let me go.
Again, I don't care what he's saying. He's dumb anyways.
Let her finish, though, Brandon. Let her finish.
Let me go, Herm. Here, listen. This is the logical thinking on defense, right? If you beat the Phoenix Suns perimeter guys off the dribble, there's no rim resistance whatsoever. Nurkic is softer than baby shit, bro. Point period blank, bro. The Phoenix Suns give up more easier baskets at the rim than most teams in the NBA do, right? Here's the difference. We can argue that the guys on the perimeter for the Phoenix Suns and Dallas Mavericks are equal. I give you that. But here's the difference, though. When you get to the rim versus the Dallas Mavericks, you have to deal with Lively and Gafford and somewhat P.J. Washington, who protect the rim. Did you not watch the postseason?
Washington's not a rim protector.
Herm, he's doing it again. Come on, Herm. Come on, bro.
He's crying like a bitch now.
Herm, he's doing it again, bro. Come on, man. This shit crazy, bro.
Come on, Brandon. Let her finish.
This shit crazy, bro. I'm almost done, man. When I finish, then you can say your piece, bro. Yeah. Bro, we saw that trio with fucking Lively and fucking Gafford, and on occasions, P.J. Washington. They were dominant in the fucking paint with fucking shot blocking and rim resistance, right? Listen, both teams have flaws defending perimeter guys like most teams do. The difference is this. When you get to the rim, is there some type of rim resistance or some type of fucking shot blocking presence whatsoever? We know one thing is true. Fuck, we see point guards going through and above and over the top of fucking Nurkic. That's not the case for Gafford and Lively. They are real-life NBA rim protectors. And that's the difference here. And again, even with Luka's defensive flaws, the Dallas Mavericks, 3 of the last 5 years, have been a top 10 defense. So they hide Luka very well. So again, it ain't like Devin Booker is playing elite defense. We know Kevin Durant is okay. We know Grayson Allen, he's not that good on defense. We know Bill has no desire to play defense. And so here's my point. The Phoenix Suns are fucking missing 2 aspects. They have poor perimeter defense and no rim protection whatsoever. So to say that the Phoenix Suns are better defensively than Dallas Mavericks, you don't know shit about basketball, bro. You sound dumb.
Okay.
Now go ahead.
Right. Okay, so this guy's a fucking clown. I'm going to cook him in about 30 seconds. So first of all, when he says Dallas is a top 10 defense, he doesn't understand basketball. Because the only reason why Dallas looks good defensively is Luka slows the pace to a crawl. So Dallas is one of the slowest tempo teams in the league almost every year. And that's why their defense looks much better than it is. And in the playoffs, they get exposed every year. So Luka is a worse perimeter defender than any defender on Phoenix. Klay Thompson is a worse perimeter defender than any defender on Phoenix. Phoenix now adds Tyus Jones, which means they can bring Grayson Allen off the bench. So Phoenix has 2 solid POAs in Grayson Allen and in Royce Neal. The other thing is Phoenix has positional size. Kevin Durant's almost 7 feet tall, and Nurkic is not some elite rim protector, but Nurkic graded out as 12th in rim protection last year. Nurkic gives you a level of rim protection. What's so dumb about his take is that Derek Jones was one of the better POAs in the playoffs last year, and Derek Jones shot well from three in the playoffs last year too. He shot almost 37% from three. So Derek Jones was a good POA who could guard multiple positions. They went from Derek Jones to an old fucking broken down Klay Thompson who can't guard anybody. Klay and Luka are two of the 10 worst POA defenders in the league, and you're not going to have rim protection against the best teams in the West anyways, because most of the top teams in the West have stretch fives and size, so your centers can't play in the paint anyways. You're not going to be able to defend with Luka and Klay. Najee Marshall's not a good enough shooter to get any significant amount of time. And the reason why Dallas went home and they got cooked against the Celtics was when it mattered and they had to get stops, they couldn't. When Dallas in the playoffs played very weak offensive teams for the most part. The only good offensive team Dallas played in the playoffs was OKC, and OKC was a young team still figuring out how to play. They had Giddey on the roster. They were a flawed team. But again, Klay and Luka are two of the 10 worst POA defenders in the league. Phoenix has far better POA defense, and you cannot rely on rim protection because all the top NBA teams have centers who can shoot, and they're going to put these centers in pick and rolls too.
Real quick, I just want to point out something that Brandon said. He said that the reason that the Mavericks defense looks so good is because the Mavericks ran at one of the slowest paces in the NBA. That's actually not true. Last year they had the 6th highest pace in the NBA.
Right. Well, they increased the pace when Kyrie came back, but they played very slow in the playoffs.
So he lied.
No, it's not. Hold on. That's not a lie. What I'm saying is, so Dallas played at two different tempos. They played faster when Kyrie missed almost 30 games in the regular season, but Dallas played very slow in the playoffs. They were one of the slower tempo teams in the playoffs. In the regular season, for the second half of the year when Kyrie came back, they played faster. But well, I was responding to Maz was talking about Dallas's. Hold on. Maz was talking about Dallas. Maz was talking about Dallas. Shut up. Maz was talking about Dallas's defense the last 5 years. What I'm saying is Dallas has been a slower tempo team for most of the last 5 years. So Dallas's defense has looked better than it is for most of the last 5 years because they've been a slower tempo team for most of that time.
He ain't gonna stop. Yeah, go ahead, Ma. Go ahead, Ma.
Okay, here's what I was saying though. Okay, so Brandon says that the Dallas Mavericks played poor offensive teams in the postseason, right? And they got their ass kicked versus the Boston Celtics. Well, Derek Jones Jr. could throw in the ocean in the finals. But that same Minnesota team, a top 2 seed,
Derek Jones shot 37% from three.
So that poor fucking offense of Minnesota swept the Phoenix Suns, right, and their defense. But the Dallas Mavericks, with elite shot blocking and decent enough defense on the perimeter, beat that team in what, 6 games? And so, that's funny. So you mean to tell me that fucking a team that the Dallas Mavericks can beat in 6 games in Minnesota, that same team who beat the Phoenix Suns, and the Phoenix Suns defense couldn't stop that team? They're down by 20 points. Fucking for damn near 3 straight games. I mean, make it make sense. And again, Derek Jones Jr. had a couple of games where he shot it well. I agree. But for the most part, he was subpar. And when it counted the most in the NBA Finals versus the fucking Boston Celtics, they left his fucking non-shooting ass wide open and could have thrown in the ocean. And then here's my last point. Klay Thompson is not going to be required to fucking do nothing else but just stand and shoot. You're asking Luka and Kyrie to be playmakers, which they can do, right? They're going to get Klay Thompson wide open shots in the corners and on the fucking angle on the 3-point line. I expect Klay Thompson to have a much better shooting season, a bounce back season. Now listen, is he going to struggle defensively at times? Of course he is. But again, he has help behind him and Lively and fucking PJ Washington and fucking Daniel Gafford. And again, Najee Marshall from the Pelicans, yeah, I mean, he's not great, but shit, I mean, he can dribble, pass, and shoot. He's a fucking better player than Derek Jones Jr. and Brandon. Again, bro, why didn't the fucking Phoenix Suns defense slow down the Minnesota T-Wolves the same way Dallas did, bro? Make it make sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense here.
Yeah, it does make sense because first of all, Phoenix Bradley Beal missed an enormous amount of games last year. So Phoenix was not remotely close to the team last year. Like Maz is too dumb to understand why Phoenix wasn't good last year. The reason Phoenix struggled last year is they never came together as a team. Bradley Beal was hurt the entire preseason, and then Bradley Beal was hurt most of the regular season. Even when Bradley Beal was playing, he struggled with injuries. So Phoenix is going to have an entire training camp. Frank Vogel cannot coach offense. Frank Vogel did not know how to coach Phoenix on offense. And so Budenholzer will make Phoenix a better offense. Beal's going to be healthy most of the season. But to show how dumb Maz's point is, the main reason why Phoenix lost to Minnesota was Phoenix struggled offensively. It was not, the biggest issue for Phoenix was not their defense, it was their offense. Their offense will be much better this year now that they have an entire training camp and Beal should be healthy. But again, Clay and Luka are both far worse POA defenders than any fucking player on Phoenix. Dallas is not going to be a good defensive team with Clay and Luka getting major time. And when he talks about rim protection, he doesn't understand the NBA. If you cannot just have a center camping out in the paint, teams are going to put centers in pick and rolls. Most of the top teams in the West have stretch fives and frontline players who can shoot. You can't just have a center sitting in the paint. And when Dallas stepped up and they played better offensive teams in the playoffs, like OKC and Boston, they got cooked. Derek Jones also shot well almost the entire playoff run. He shot almost 37% from three. And the way that Boston defended Dallas is Boston did not double Luka or Kyrie consistently. Jaylen Brown was guarding Luka and Drew was guarding Kyrie, so they weren't leaving PJ Washington and Derek Jones wide open. He doesn't own a TV. They were not leaving Derek Jones wide open in that series. Derek Jones shot well from three the whole playoffs. But if you look at, this is my point to the point you made before, Herm, if you look at the West, OKC is going to be a very good defensive team and Minnesota is going to be a very good defensive team. Denver lost KCP. Dallas lost Derek Jones. They added Clay. Clay's one of the worst defenders in the league. There's nobody in the West who's going to be a top defensive team other than Minnesota and OKC. So to say Phoenix can't be a top three seed because of their defense when there's only two teams in the West that are going to be top defensive teams is a dumb take.
But to go back to, we act like we never seen defenses, Brandon. Like the Miami Heat, they had some of the worst defenders like a Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero, and they still was sufficient to be one of the top defensive teams in the NBA. Still, despite of that, so it's not.
Yeah, but those guys aren't as bad as Clay and Luka, Herm. Clay and Luka are two of the worst POAs in the entire league. Hero and Duncan Robinson are not Clay and
Tyler Hero is too. And Miami
took Duncan Robinson off the floor for Strus and others too.
But when they made the other deep run, he was playing significant minutes and he was crucial, especially.
Right, but Hero was hurt when Miami made their last deep run.
I'm just speaking in general, though. In general, Miami always figured out ways to cover their bad defenders. So that's the same thing Dallas initially doing, because Bam. One thing that a lot of people don't point out about Bam is excellent at drop coverage. Bam knows how to step up enough to the point where to disrupt somebody that's penetrating. Once they get past their perimeter defenders, which Miami did lack in, because outside of Jimmy Butler and outside of some older guys at the time like a Kyle Lowry and them, they wasn't that great as a perimeter defensive team. They just was a good team, defensive team, and that's what elevated Miami to be decent. And that's what Mavs worked on as well. They're a good team defense. They don't have guys that truly can lock down guys, but they are a great team defense. And Gafford shown that he is great at drop coverage.
They weren't a great defense.
Nah, they was great because
they weren't great. They got cooked by OKC and Boston.
But since after that All-Star break, from March on to the playoffs, the Dallas Mavericks was the number one defense in the NBA.
Right, but you're talking about a sample size of 15 games.
But for marching and basically most of the playoffs, it was the number one defense that they went against Boston, of course, which was the best defensive team in the league for its team defense, in my opinion. But Dallas was still sufficient enough to cover Luka. And Kyrie did step up on the defensive end. We can't act as if Kyrie ever didn't play good defense in the Clippers series. Didn't play solid defense.
Right, but the Clippers didn't have Kawhi.
No, I'm just saying Kyrie played defense at crucial moments against OKC. He played great defense, had great defensive moments against Minnesota as well, especially in close games. Kyrie Irving stepped up tremendously defensively. So it's not as if that they can't do it. It's just that the Mavericks figured out a way though despite of Luka's defensive liabilities, they still figure out a way to cover that. They move well as a team. They're able to rotate very well. They great in drop coverage as a team, and they're able to deal with the deficiencies that Luka has defensively. So I think the Mavericks still gonna have those same principles. I think Nigel Marshall is an upgrade from Derrick Jones. 'Cause I just think he's a better overall basketball player than Derrick Jones Jr. And I think they really not miss much. Clay is really a house money type of move. If you mess around and get the best version of Clay, get the last bit of greatness out of Clay, you win. But if you don't, it's okay though, because at the end of the day, we could just sit his ass down if we got to. And they could come up with different lineups. And I trust Jason Kidd a little bit more as well. I think Jason Kidd has been doing a great job and for us the substitution for us putting out certain defensive lineups to cover up Luka. But I thought P5 just got off. But that's my thoughts, Brandon, man. Like Phoenix, I feel you, but I don't think they're gonna be a top 3 seed in the West, though. I just think the West is too deep. I think Phoenix defensively, I just gonna have too many issues and injuries. Kevin Durant, ever since the Achilles injury, he always gonna miss at least 15 to 25.
No, Kevin Durant played almost 70 games last year.
Yeah, he's gonna always miss between 15 to 25 games.
No, Kevin Durant played almost 70 games last year. But what I'm saying is, well, hold on. When you talk about Miami, Herm, hold on, Herm. When you talk about Miami, so the Heat have special culture. They have special culture. But when the Heat made their last deep playoff run, they didn't have Tyler Hero. They made that run without him, and that's part of the reason they were so much better defensively in the playoffs. Is Hero was out in 2023 in the playoffs. And the other thing is that Duncan Robinson was benched. He was benched for Max Strus because Strus was much better defensively than Robinson as well. But this is my point. Derrick Jones was a very good POA for Dallas for 2 reasons. The first is Jones was a good one-on-one defender, but Jones is also an elite athlete with a lot of length, and he was a good help defender too. So now you go from a very good POA defender to a complete trash defender in Clay. So when you talk about the Dallas defense last year, hold on, Herm, I'm going to land it here. But when you talk about Dallas's defense last year they had a good POA in Derrick Jones. Now they have Clay, who's old and broken down. And Najee Marshall's not a good enough shooter to play major minutes. Najee Marshall is not going to be able to play the offensive role that Clay is. And so when Clay and Luka play together, Dallas is not going to be able to defend on the perimeter. There's only 2 top defensive teams in the West, Minnesota and OKC. Phoenix is just as good defensively as anybody else who's going to be a playoff team in the West other than OKC and Minnesota. Dallas is not going to be able to defend on the perimeter with Clay and Luka on the court at the same time.
All right, if I'm not mistaken, though, Brandon, the Houston Rockets was better defensively than the Phoenix Suns. Actually, I think Houston is a better team defensively than Phoenix automatically. The Lakers was a better defensive team than Phoenix, even though I don't trust the Lakers at all. I don't think they could defend worth a damn, but they was better than the Phoenix Suns defense.
Yeah, Phoenix was a slightly above average defense in the regular season last year. But what I'm saying, what you and Maz keep missing is Phoenix is a different team this year. They have much better depth. They're bringing Grayson Allen off the bench. And again, Beal missed the entire training camp last year. So Phoenix never came together as a team last season.
They're still exiles.
Yeah, but we don't put Bradley Beal in the same Brothers defense.
Yeah, I don't trust Bradley Beal.
No, that's not my point. My point is that Phoenix is going to be more of a team this year because they have an entire training camp. And the offense is going to be better too. But the other thing is Phoenix is going to be a top 5 offense. And when you're a top 5 offense, it's going to make your defense look better than it is because you're going to have less live ball turnovers and you're going to be able to set your defense more too.
Well, listen, I mean, from where they were last year, when it counted the most in the fourth quarter, I mean, of course, they're going to be a lot better this season because, for one, we think they're going to be healthy. We hope so. And they picked up Tyus Jones. They were so bad last year offensively when it counted the most with their turnovers. And again, Kevin and Devin are 2 guys you can't handle double teams or traps very well. And so that's why I'm big on that bringing in Tyus Jones. I'm saying that defensively, if your offense is elite, I agree. It helps your defense out somewhat. But again, I don't think they're good defensively as any other team outside of OKC and Minnesota. I mean, absolutely not. No.
But I got a question. I'm gonna
Yeah,
start
but
off
Phoenix won 70% of their games when Beal played last year too. So Phoenix was fine last year when Beal was on the floor, even before. Just forget about Tyus Jones. When Beal played, Phoenix won 70% of their games last year. They just weren't healthy most of the season last year.
He got to be on the court though. But I gotta ask y'all this. I'm gonna start off with Mars though.
Okay.
What are y'all hot takes of the NBA season this year? Like something that you think that would surprise a lot of folks. What hot take do you guys have for the NBA season? Who you think is gonna be? Who you think is gonna do something major, man? That a lot of people sleeping on.
I think Orlando is a sleeper team, and I also think the Indiana Pacers will be a top 4 or 5 seed, maybe even 3 or 4 seed. I think they're built for the regular season. Their guys got a lot of experience last year with some of their guys being hurt. And so even though they didn't win last year, versus Boston, those are close games. And I think their guys got a lot of experience. And so out east, I think the Pacers. And then out west, I think with Memphis coming back healthy, with Marcus and JJ and Ja Morant, they're going to be a much better team. And so I think they'll be a top 4 or 5 seed as well. I mean, other than that, man, I don't see I think the same 8 teams for the most part are going to be there. I mean, I'll throw in Sacramento, Memphis, take out the Clippers, take out possibly the Lakers, take out, here's a hot take. I think the Golden State Warriors are going to be better than what a lot of teams think they're not going to, or you guys think they're not going to be. They picked up some guys in Anthony Milton. They picked up Buddy Hield. Yeah, those aren't big pickups or big names, but they're good old-fashioned basketball players. And so I think they're going to get back to winning. And so I think the Warriors will be, my hot take is they'll be a top 6 seed out west.
Who is Golden State playing at the 5?
They're going to play Looney, and I'm assuming Looney. And their backup big is their second-year guy that they had last year. I forgot his name.
You're talking about TJD? I mean, TJD and Looney have no offensive game. Golden State has no size up. Draymond Green's 35. He has back issues. The Warriors have no size. They're not going to be able to defend in the West.
Listen, that's why it's a hot take, because I'm not proud to take. I mean, he acts as a hot take, and that's a hot take.
Yeah, I don't agree, but whatever. Yeah. So I'd say the 2 things. I think Houston's going to be a playoff team this year. I think Jalen Green's going to cook this season. The first 2 years in Houston, the Rockets were a totally dysfunctional team. Now Udoka's in year 2. Jalen Green was playing like a top 10 player in March, and then in April he got double teamed a lot. Jalen Green is going to be a top 30 player. Houston will make a good push for the playoffs. They have a lot of depth. They're a young team. They're built for the playoffs. And Minnesota in the regular season will be just as good this year as they were last year without Towns. Minnesota was 14-6 without Towns last year. They were better defensively without Towns, and Minnesota had the same offensive rating when Towns was out as when he played. Naz Reid is a 40% three-point shooter, good defender, and Minnesota had far better ball movement when Towns was off the floor. Randall's not a good playoff player, but he's a good regular season player, and Randall will only need to score 15 a game in Minnesota. Minnesota will again be the best defensive team in the NBA, and they'll be just as good in the regular season this year as they were without them. Dante DiVincenzo fits well in Minnesota as a 3-and-D player too. Edwards will be better this season. Minnesota will be a top 3 seed, and Houston will be a playoff team.
Yeah, but if Minnesota finished second or third last year, I forget which one they finished. I think second. Then them finishing third, why would that be a hot take? I mean,
because they lost Towns.
Yeah, but they gained Julius Randle.
Okay, Julius Randle's not as good as Towns.
But I'm gonna give you.
I don't think he's hurt some, and they got Devinchenko. I mean, that's crazy.
Right. So but the point is, the consensus is that Minnesota got worse.
I mean, a casual fan may say that. I mean, I don't think so. But go ahead, Herm.
Okay, but the consensus is that Minnesota's not going to be as good this year because Karl Anthony Towns is a better player than Julius Randle.
I don't believe that. That's I don't believe that.
Okay, well, right, but I'm explaining why my take is not the consensus take. I mean, what your opinion is not, it's not relevant to whether or not my take would be an original take or not.
But Brandon, I'm gonna give you a hot take. You say the Rockets, which they got the potential, but I think for some reason Houston go do something dumb. They gonna end up paying Jalen Green during the season, and it's gonna be all Sherrod after that, in my opinion. But I think the Spurs are going to be a playoff team. I think Wemby is going to insert himself in the MVP conversation. I'm not saying he's going to win it. I think he's going to be top 5 in voting. I think Wemby will win Defensive Player of the Year. He almost won it by playing limited minutes last year. He was on restricted minutes and almost won it last year. So I think Wemby is going to set himself as one of the brightest stars in the NBA. I think the Spurs will make the playoffs. I think they will be an 8th seed, and a lot of people counted Chris Paul out. I think Chris Paul will make the All-Star game this year. I think.
Wow, yeah, that's definitely a hot take, Herm. And as far as my
I
Rockets
don't think Chris Paul is going to play enough minutes to be an All-Star. He's an older player.
Well, don't you guys think that Şengün and Jalen Green not getting paid and it's their contract season? That's going to kind of tamper with. I'm a Rockets fan,
especially
and
Jalen
so
Green.
I mean, to me, that's going to be a distraction all year long until you guys get paid or get traded. So
no, I'd go the other way. Usually players play their best in contract years. I think you'll get their best.
You have a point if we weren't talking about maybe Şengün will, but I don't trust Jalen Green's mindset or his mentality. He's been known to kind of be like a little brat, so I don't know. I mean, I'm up in there about
yeah, but Green was a different player at the end of last year. He showed a lot of maturity. Green's looked very good in the preseason too. Green played a lot better when Şengün was off the court. Yeah, so kind of found himself. And I think the other thing is Udoka's in year 2, and so Udoka should be. His team will know the system better. Udoka knows his personnel better too. But the other thing is Houston has a lot of young players, and some of those guys are going to be better this season too.
Yeah, and listen, man, Şengün got hurt versus the Kings. I was actually at the game. And so Green played well for that stretch, but the last 8 games of the season, where we need him to play even better to get into the playing game, he didn't play well. And here's my last point. I don't care about Green playing well when Şengün's in the lineup because that's not what we're looking for as Rockets fans. He needs to play consistent and well with Şengün. And so as good as he played without him, that's cool. I get it. You give him credit. It is what it is. But we need Jalen and Şengün to like coexist. That's what we need. And I feel like last year we didn't get that consistently.
But the reason Green dropped off in April, Green was cooking in March, as I said about 5 minutes ago. Green, let me finish. Green was a top 10 player in the entire NBA in March. The reason Green dropped off in April was teams adjusted to how good he was in March. And he got doubled. He got trapped. Nobody was single covering him in April. So hold on. I didn't interrupt you. So it's a lie to say that Green was suddenly struggling in April. The defensive coverage has completely changed. He was getting doubled and trapped. And Jalen Green's also looked good. Preseason's not remotely close to the regular season, but Green was cooking in March. He's cooking in the preseason. And Houston was completely dysfunctional. Green's first 2 years, he was 19 and 20 years old. He's ready to cook now.
To say that Jalen Green was playing like a top 10 player. And was
in March, I said.
Yeah. I got you, man. And then, like I said, the last 5-6 games of the season, he didn't play as well. And you said that the defense changed and he got double teamed and trapped. I mean, if you're a top 10 player, I mean, so what?
That's
I mean,
what
that should be expected. I mean,
I didn't say Green's a top 10 player. I said he played at that level in March. But you're talking about
you're
talking about a 21-year-old player. So yeah, Jalen Green. Hold on, Jalen Green at age 21 did not handle doubles or traps well. He will have a whole offseason to prepare for those kind of coverages. He'll be better this year now.
I don't give age excuses. If you played well during March, then do it in fucking April when we need you to do it the most. I don't want to hear about no goddamn double team or
he's 21. He's not going to be a finished product.
I don't care. And guess what? A lot of these young guys are producing and playing well. And again, I don't care about Jalen Green having a good month to end the season because great players are good players or above or all-star type players are somewhat consistent throughout the year. And he wasn't last year. And again, it's about Şengün and Jalen playing good together. So the Rockets could sneak in the playing situation, I think. I don't think they'll make the postseason, but I think they'll be right there with one of the 4 teams between 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then we'll see what happens.
The other thing is Houston has a lot of young players, and some of them will be better this year. The other thing is, hold on, I didn't interrupt you. The other thing is Udoka is one of the better coaches in the NBA, and he's in year 2 now. So he's going to have more time to get this team to gel, to figure out what systems in place he wants to run in Houston too. But Jalen Green was a top pick in the draft for a reason. It's not just that Jalen Green was good in March. He showed what he can be as an NBA player. He's an elite athlete. He's a good help defender. He's got length. length. He's got athleticism. He showed what his talent is. And the only reason he dropped off in April is because of the defense change in defensive coverages. Again, this is a 21-year-old player who was on a totally dysfunctional team that was tanking his first 2 years in the league. So this is essentially Jalen Green's second year where he's going to have a functional organization and competent roster and competent coach with them. Jalen Green should be better this year, and Houston has a lot of other young players who should be better this year as well.
Well,
I gotta. Go ahead, my bad, bro. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I gotta get on this though. A lot of people sleeping on Chris Paul to the Spurs move and sleeping on the fact that he could possibly make an All-Star game this year. I want you, if you guys know basketball, you're gonna have two of the most brilliant minds in NBA history on one team with Greg Popovich and Chris Paul. You don't think those brilliant minds go get the young players from the Spurs?
Yeah, but Herm, Chris Paul's only going to play 20 minutes a game.
Let me finish, because I've been letting you talk. I ain't been interrupting you. But here's the thing with the Spurs. End of the day, people counted out Chris Paul. Last time he went to a young team, OKC, they thought it was over with for Chris Paul. They thought his career was done. But guess what Chris Paul did? He galvanized those young players. He got that young team going. And guess what? OKC made the playoffs, so they had one of their best years going. It kicked off SGA's career, and SGA ain't looked back ever since Chris Paul got there. What Chris Paul did for SGA at OKC, it's the same thing he could do for Wemby and the Spurs. And I'm telling you now, when you got two of the most brilliant basketball minds on one squad, and that's Greg Popovich and Chris Paul, do not sleep on the Spurs, and do not sleep on the impact that could possibly have on the young talent on the Spurs. And don't sleep on the fact that Chris Paul would probably be motivated, have a chip on the shoulder, because people are doubting him again. People believe that he should be retired, and people believe that he can't play at a high level anymore. They did this to him before. He showed us different. I think he could do that. I think he got one more great year left in him, and I think he's going to display it this year, and I think he's going to get the Spurs in the playoffs, and he's going to get his last berth as an All-Star this year. I think it's very, very possible. I don't even think that I'm crazy for saying what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think you're slightly overrating Wemby, but I think Trey Jones. The Spurs have good young talent outside of Wemby. I think Devin Vassell and Trey Jones will both be notably better this year. I don't think Chris Paul is going to be anything special as a player. He's old. He's only going to get around 20 minutes a game, but I do think he'll mentor some of these younger players, especially the guards like Trey Jones and Devin Vassell. Wemby got cooked in the Olympics on the perimeter. He's not strong enough to guard the top centers. You're overrating Wemby, but I like some of the Spurs' young talent like Devin Vassell and Trey Jones. The Spurs have some young players who should be better this year other than Wemby.
But Wemby led France to a gold medal game.
No, Wemby struggled in the Olympics. The main reason France got there was because of the play of their guards. Wemby was not consistent in the Olympics.
Player on France, man.
Wemby was getting cooked on defense most of the Olympics. France didn't even have a winning record in the group stage games.
Yeah, I don't think the Spurs are expected to win. I think Chris Paul will have an impact, but it'll be more in the future. This is a little too late for me. The Greg Popovich and Chris Paul pairing, like, this ain't 2020 her with OKC. This is like 4 or 5 years later, Chris Paul, and so his impact is not going to be the same. Now I do think people will pick his brain and soak up his knowledge for future years. Some of these young players, but as far as like wins and losses, nah. Listen, I mean, the Spurs just don't have the talent or the personnel to win enough games to where Chris is going to make the All-Star team, and they're not going to make the playoffs, bro. Listen, they're going to win some games versus teams that they shouldn't beat, but they're going to lose a lot of games. They just don't have the talent, bro, and it just is what it is. They're just not there yet.
I think the Spurs are a borderline playoff team because I think Devin Vassell and Trey Jones, the Spurs have a lot of young talent other than Wemby, and those players don't get the attention they deserve because Wemby is getting so much attention. But Vassell and Trey Jones are both going to be better players. Devin Vassell can be a 15 to 20 point a game player. He's a good player who should be better this year. I think the Spurs will be a play-in team this year.
What's your guys' thoughts on? I mean, you guys say Chris Paul, but don't forget about Harrison Barnes. He's a guy who's won a championship. He knows the NBA circle. He knows how to be a professional. So again, guys like Chris and Harrison, true professionals. like they're going to, I think Pop's going to lean on those two guys greatly in the locker room. And I agree with Brandon a little bit. Some of their young guys outside of Wemby should play better. If they can shoot the three ball better with Wemby drawing so much attention, and I do think Chris will get those guys easier shots. I think the pick and roll between Chris and Wemby is going to be at times devastating. But again, I'm with Brandon on this one, Herm. I don't think Chris is going to play big men's, bro. I don't think. Listen, he got traded there, or did he get signed there? I forget which one. And so, listen, if you're a Spurs coach, what Pop is an organization, like you're not trying to let Chris go off. Like your job is to get these guys developed, which means Chris is more of a mentor than an impactful player on the court. And so Pop's going to play his young guys, and he's going to play Chris at times. But the Spurs ain't trying to win no games, bro. They trying to get more picks and more players.
No, you're wrong about that. The Spurs are not tanking anymore. And the other thing is, Maz, you're forgetting Pops is not just a great coach. Pop is one of the best in NBA history at player development. Parker, Ginobili, these players were not supposed to be that good when they were drafted. So the Spurs are not going to be tanking this year. Wemby's not going to be on a minutes limit. And the other, hold on, let me finish. The other thing is Wemby's added almost 20 pounds of weight this year too. So he's going. I don't see him being as good as Herm says he's going to be, but he's going to be better this year. But Popovich is the best X's and O's coach in NBA history. Popovich has had no talent on his roster the last several years because the Spurs have been tanking. Popovich is going to have that team better this year, both with what he does in player development and as a coach.
I never said that the Spurs were tanking, and I used the word developing.
Well, you said they're trying to accumulate picks.
Well, hold on. Listen, because the San Antonio Spurs, it wouldn't be in their best interest to win games or try to win most of the games and be in that 13 to 14.
Right. Well, they think they're a playoff team this year.
Bro, real quick, man. Please, I'm gonna cut you off. Remember, respect. And so again, I use the word develop on purpose because the Spurs do develop players greatly, and I use the word they're not going to try to win games because they can't get free agents like that, and they don't have trade pieces really, and so they're trying to get as much as picks as they can get, and so it's not in their best interest to win games. I mean, they need to build the old-fashioned way, which is through the draft, because they're not trading Wemby away, and they're not trading some of their young guys away. And so Harrison and Chris Paul aren't good trade pieces. And so, I mean, they're not going to be here long-term. And so why would you try to win 40, 45 games for it and pick number 15 or 18 and be right back where you are like the very next year? No. Like
because the Spurs are happy with their young core. Like you're a year behind where the Spurs are, Maz. The Spurs like their young core with Wemby, Devin. Hold on. The Spurs like their young core with Trey Jones, Devin Vassell, and Wemby. The Spurs don't think they need any more top picks. And the other thing is now that the top players are coming out of the draft after 1 year, there aren't any elite or top players who are supposed to be coming out of the draft that would fall 5 through 10. Anyways, there's not that big of a difference between drafting 10 through 15 and drafting 15 through 20. Most of the top players are top 10 picks, but the Spurs are not tanking anymore. The Spurs think they have the core to win. The reason the Spurs added Harrison Barnes and Chris Paul is they want to win this year. If the Spurs were trying to acquire picks and they weren't interested in winning, they wouldn't have brought in vets like Barnes and Chris Paul. They would have done what they've done the last 2 years.
I know, but Brandon, respectfully, nobody looks at Chris Paul and fucking Harrison Barnes, who had a horrible month and a half of the season for the Kings. I'm here in Sacramento. I watch them play every fucking game. Like, you don't bring in Chris and Harrison and say we want to win. Like, no,
but if the Spurs were tanking, they wouldn't sign vets.
Man, this is crazy, bro. Like, come on, man, this is crazy. So again,
your take doesn't make sense.
Listen, they want to win some games. I'm not arguing that, but their core right now, without Harrison, listen, the Spurs right now are not, in my opinion, cannot make the postseason with Chris and Harrison. They're years away. And so if you're years away, then let your young guys make mistakes, get better, develop with Wemby, and then over those 2 or 3 years in the future, go get a number 5 pick, go get a number 7 pick, go get arguably a number 1 or 2 or 3 pick. Like, why would you want to pick 10 through 20? Doesn't make sense here. They don't need to win right now. They don't need to win right now.
Right, because you're missing the point, which is the Spurs want to develop their young players. And so when teams tank and they don't try and win, it doesn't just erode your culture, it prevents your young players from developing as much as they can. But the Spurs are happy with their young core. That Devin Vassell has the capability to be an all-star level player in the next 2 to 3 years. So they have Devin Vassell, they have Trey Jones, they like Wemby. The Spurs are content with that core. They're not looking to get more top 5 or top 10 picks. You're a year behind where the Spurs are. And when you say this, you say definitively the Spurs can't be a playoff team. That doesn't make sense. There are not 8 teams in the Western Conference that are definitively 100% better than San Antonio. Steph Curry's going to be 37 years old. He's not going to be the same player this year he was last year. LeBron James is 40. Anthony Davis played almost 70 games last year, but Anthony Davis has had injuries multiple years. The Spurs absolutely have a chance to make the playoffs in the West, given how old Golden State and the Lakers are.
Well, there's more teams than just Golden State and the Lakers, so it's funny.
Right, but those teams are not definitively better than San Antonio.
Listen. Golden State didn't make. Listen, if I'm not mistaken, Golden State made the postseason last year, or no? I don't think they were.
They were a playing team. They missed the playoffs.
Okay, cool.
Right.
So then the Warriors are a moot point first and foremost. The Lakers. Okay, cool. So if we take out Lakers and Golden State, I'll just plug in. I can plug in Houston and Memphis. I think they're better than the San Antonio Spurs. And again, before you try to cut me off, bro,
Memphis,
just real quick. Even in wins
you just said you don't think Houston's a playoff team.
I don't, but they're better than the Spurs, though, which means the Spurs don't make the postseason, Brandon. Pay attention, bro. Again, you keep cutting.
No, but again, you're saying the Spurs have no chance to make the playoffs.
I'm almost done, man. This is crazy.
Those teams are not definitively better than Houston.
Do you want? I mean, we can shout at each other, but like this
ain't gonna get nowhere,
answer, bro. I mean, we've been doing cool for the past hour.
It's just an exchange. I mean, you're crying.
Listen. I can still develop Spurs players and their young players, even while we lose. Sometimes, even when you're losing, you can find positive things and develop guys, because development doesn't come in wins and losses. It just doesn't, right? I can work on my game and still lose the game. And so I'm not, because you brought up a point about the young guys want to win and their psyche. I think that's what you said. If you didn't, then my bad. But the Spurs aren't worried about winning right now, and they shouldn't be. And again, I think there's 8 teams definitively better than the Spurs. Like, you don't think so?
No, I mean, I think the Spurs are a borderline playoff team, but when you talk about Memphis, John Morant has not been healthy for 2 years. Zach Edey hasn't proven he can play in the NBA. Jaren Jackson is hurt right now. Memphis is a big question mark. So Sacramento can't defend it all. Memphis is a huge question mark. LeBron's 40. Steph Curry's going to be 37. I mean, the last 2 playoff spots in the West are open to a lot of teams. And the one big advantage San Antonio has is they're a very young team. And young teams are always going to be better built for the regular season than older teams like the Lakers. And Steph Curry is going to be 37. He's an older player too. So San Antonio is the kind of young team that's going to be better on the second night of back-to-backs, playing 4 games in 5 days than some of these older teams like the Lakers.
Well, that's funny, because the San Antonio. I mean, how many games do you think the Spurs win next season, or I'm saying this season? Throw a number out there.
It depends how the young players develop.
Throw a number out there.
I think this
4 to 4 games.
I think the Spurs will be. I think the Spurs will be between 42 to 48 games. They'll win.
Okay, so let's just say 42 games. The lower end. That's a 20-game jump from last season.
That's possible.
Yeah, but again, Wemby was on the Spurs treated Wemby with kid gloves last year. Wemby was held out of a lot of games. He was on a minute limitation. Wemby's going to play more games. He's going to play more minutes. He's going to be a much better player this year. The Spurs added vets. Their younger players are going to be better. But the other thing is, the Spurs were not trying to win last year. I disagree with you. I think they will be trying to win this year.
Okay, and even though they won 22 games last year.
Right, well, they were not trying to win last year.
So you don't think the 8 teams that I think are better than them aren't going to try to win this year? And then you talk about back-to-backs and shit like that. Well, Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes are older players. And so you trust younger players who are still trying to develop, even on a back-to-back, to go beat a Minnesota, Denver, a Dallas on the road or at home, or Houston or Boston, or what are we doing right now, bro? Like, I don't trust.
No, you're not listening. You're not listening to what I'm saying.
No. I just made a point that you said. You said back-to-back games, and the Spurs are a younger team. Meaning, on the back-to-back games, you trust a younger player on the Spurs to do whatever. I'm saying, even in a back-to-back situation, you think the young Spurs core can still go into some of these cities or at home and beat some of these good teams?
Yes, because the point you're missing is when you talk, first of all, Barnes is not that old, but Chris Paul's an older player. Paul's there to mentor the younger players. He's not going to play a major role, but the Spurs core is young. Their core of Wemby, Trey Jones, and Devin Vassell, those are younger players. And it's irrelevant how many games the Spurs won last year. They were tanking. They were not trying to win. And so the Spurs would literally take Wemby off the court in the fourth quarter when the game was fucking tied last year. They were not trying to win basketball games last season. They will be this year, and their core is younger. Their core is still young this season. But you're missing my point. I'm not saying the Spurs are a playoff team. I'm saying there are not 8 teams in the West that are going to be definitively better than San Antonio. The Spurs will have a good chance to be a playoff team.
No, okay. Well, we just disagree. I think there's going to be a huge gap in wins and losses between the 8th seed and the Spurs.
Probably who do you have as the 8th seed in the West?
8th seed out west, probably the Lakers or Houston Rockets.
Okay, so you think that the Lakers with 40-year-old LeBron are going to be far better than San Antonio?
Yeah. I think they're going to be 6-7 games.
You're delusional.
Yeah, I think they're going to be better than the Spurs.
How many games do you think LeBron's going to play at age 40?
He might play.
I don't know, but
he's going to play 55 to 60 games like he does every year. D'Angelo Russell can't defend. Reeves can't defend. The Lakers are not going to be far better than San Antonio.
Those guys can't defend, but you think the Spurs' young core with Chris Paul can defend?
Right, but again, the Spurs. Chris Paul's not going to play major minutes. Reeves and Russell are.
Okay,
but the Spurs have a better defensive roster outside. I mean, the Lakers have AD, but Russell and Reeves are 2 of the worst defenders in the league. The Spurs don't have.
That.
No, hold on. The Spurs do not have defenders as bad as Russell and Reeves.
Okay, listen, I agree with you, but the Spurs don't have perimeter defense that are just much better than the Lakers. Like y'all ain't got no guys who just lock down.
Trey Jones and Devin Vassell are far better defenders than Russell and Reeves.
Why are you not mentioning some of the other guys that's on the perimeter?
Because the Russell and Reeves are the starters. They're going to get more minutes.
I'm not putting my faith in no young dudes, bro. Hey, so how did they defend last year?
Again, the Spurs were not trying to win last year. They were tanking.
So if they weren't trying to win last year and they didn't show you these defensive schemes or acumen, why are you just projecting that Jones and his other guy is going to play good defense?
Okay, so two reasons. I'll answer your question. So 2 reasons. First of all, the Spurs were much better at the end of last year. One of the reasons Denver didn't get the 1 seed is the Spurs beat them. So the Spurs were already showing promise at the end of last year. But again, I made this point 5 minutes ago. Greg Popovich is the best coach in NBA history at player development, and the Spurs have more young players than just Wemby. Trey Jones has looked good. Devin Vassell's looked very promising at times too. So I expect Popovich to be able to develop these players, and I also think that bringing in Barnes and Chris Paul both as mentors and players is going to help the culture of the team as well. But Popovich is one of the best coaches in NBA history. He's going to make this team as good as they can be as an X's and O's coach too.
Listen, I think the Spurs are going to run good offense. Doesn't mean it's going to translate to wins. And I'm looking at the current Lakers roster. I see Cam Reddish, I see Max Christie, Jarrett Vanderbilt, and Dalton Connect, just to name a few.
Well, Vanderbilt's hurt. Vanderbilt's hurt right now.
Bro, hurt. Okay, that's fine.
That's
fine. Anthony, and listen, I think AD and Wemby cancel each other out, okay? So I'm not going to mention those 2 guys. So if I give you Dalton Connect, and at some point I think Vanderbilt's going to come back, and you got Cam Reddish, right? Then you think that Trey Jones and the other kid is on their level defensively?
No, that's not my point. My point is that okay.
I'm gonna tell you, Castle.
Wait, hold on. Let me respond to what he said. So first of all, the Lakers have never been a good regular season team with LeBron the last 2 years. The Lakers played well the second half of the year, but LeBron James only plays around 60 games a year, and LeBron James creates a toxic culture where he goes. The Lakers don't have a good culture in LA. The other thing is that the Lakers again have never been a good regular season team, even when the Lakers got to the conference finals in 2023, they were not that good in the regular season. And AD played almost 70 games last year. AD's one of the most injury-prone players in the league. So LeBron's 40, AD's injury-prone. Russell and Reeves cannot defend. The Lakers have never been a good regular season team the last several years. The Spurs are not going to be significantly worse than the Lakers this year.
The Lakers have finished 7th or lower the past the past 4 years. After that bubble championship, they finished no higher than a 7 seed. So we both agree on that. But as bad as the Lakers have been these regular seasons and still getting into the postseason, except for that year that Russ was there, like, why do you think the Spurs are just like right there? I mean, they're just not ready yet. I mean, listen,
Okay,
hold on, Brandon.
because of what I think. Let me just make one quick point to what you said.
Hey,
I think the main, not that I care. The main point you're missing, Moss. You're underselling how great of a coach Popovich is, not just his player development, but X's and O's. Popovich is going to make that team better than what their talent level is.
Well, I mean, he's been there. And I mean, it ain't got them nowhere yet. They've been
right, but they've been tanking the last couple years.
Well, okay, listen. Okay, if Pop ain't got Timmy, AD, or Kawhi, then they ain't one shit. Period. And so until I see it, bro,
Popovich won a title in 2013 when Duncan was a role player.
I just said you can't hear? I said if he ain't got Timmy, Parker, Ginobili, or Kawhi, I mean, he hasn't really done nothing. So I mean, you can say he's a great coach, which he is. But listen, he can still be a great coach because sometimes
every coach needs good players.
I'm not done yet, bro. Great coaching is sometimes not about wins and losses. See, I can say that. It's about, can you develop young guys? And so the great coach doesn't always come with wins and losses. My bad. Go with Herm.
Oh yeah, man. I appreciate you, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's been cool little dialogue.
Appreciate my brother Miles. Appreciate P5 for coming through. Appreciate everybody in the chat, man. We about to wrap this thing up, man. So salute to Brandon, Cass, and Miles. They was cooking.
All right, Brandon.
And Popovich has had playoff teams without Kawhi too.
He did.
I know. Tim Duncan was there. I know that.
He had one with Aldridge when Duncan and Kawhi were gone too.
Oh yeah, he did it with Aldridge.
Was that 2018, Brandon, or 2019? What year was that?
Yeah,
that was 2018. Yeah.
2018. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then the Spurs were basically tanking after that.
That was first round exit, though.
He's a great coach. I'm not saying he's not a great coach. I'm just saying the Spurs ain't right there yet. But all right, Herm. Well, thanks for having me on, bro. I appreciate it.
Anytime, brother. Anytime.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Brandon, I appreciate
all right, Brandon. You got some good evening, man.
I'm going to drop.
All right, baby, finna wrap this up, man. Hey, man, I appreciate my brothers. I appreciate Brandon, appreciate Miles for coming through, man. Appreciate P5 for coming through. Man, it was a good show. We was talking basketball, none of these narratives, none of nothing. We giving our opinions. It's going to be an interesting season because it's a lot of talent. Like I said, I believe the Spurs are going to be better than what a lot of people think. I believe it's going to be a lot of great talent. It's a lot of great talent in the West. It's just wide open, but I do believe this year is the year for Luka Doncic. And look, y'all, we still doing something special as well, man. We giving out a PS5. We got PS5 raffle going on right now, man. We finna put up the details up right now for you guys to participate in the PlayStation 5 raffle as well, man. So, man, y'all keep tuning in these shows. We finna put up this display. The internet chance now to win. All you have to do, what all they have to do, Sturdy, man. I may need you on this one. What all they have to do to get in this raffle?
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're working out the kinks right now, but simply put, very soon you'll have a chance to win a PS5 and other prizes as well for the second and third place winners. But simply put, for $10 a pop, and three for 25, you'll be able to buy a ticket and have and basically around the end of December, we're gonna do a live reveal. And first place winner, we get a free PS5. Second, third place, we get other prizes as well. But nevertheless, I believe you're gonna get this running pretty much soon, no later than next week. And please enter, and you will have a chance to win a brand new PS5.
Yeah, I can't beat that, man. Like end of the day, y'all. I got my picks. I told y'all who's gonna do what. I told you Luka gonna be the MVP. He's gonna win Finals MVP. The Mavs will raise the trophy. I told you Wemby would be Defensive Player of the Year. I still ain't came up with my sixth man yet, cause that is a difficult pick when I think about it. But for us next week as well. Hey Johnny, hey man, look. confidence up. But guess what? I easily got you to expose yourself. You exposed yourself last week, kid. You exposed yourself last night. Everything I said in that the first debate, when you talk about fanboys, you did it last night. You said Steph Curry has no impact playing off ball. You said Anthony Davis is not a top 10 player. You said all that, right? This is what you said. This is what you said. You said he's not that. I'm telling y'all now. Is no sound starting?
No, you good now. You good now. Go ahead. Do you think?
Okay, bet. I'm telling you now, hey Johnny. It's on. I gave you those 2 wins. I let you feel good about yourself. Take up a pawn. I bet you any type of dollars right now that I'm not losing. Because the debate is about errors. The errors it's not no damn dumbass debate about fanboys, which you really can't debate. Because at the end of the day, what he did last night was fanboy shit. The shit that you say that Zesty Jeffries do, put down Scottie Pippen, put down Horace Grant. You did that last night to Anthony Davis. You put down the competition. Talk about Stephen Curry ain't this. Stephen Curry doesn't have any impact off ball. He is better off ball than he is on ball. And at the end of the day, I'm going to smoke you, boy, because the debate is about eras. The 2010 era, which you going for, versus the 2000s era. And I'm telling you now, hey, Michael, it's not even a feud. This just friendly competition, because that's my brother. I support A. Johnny, and y'all tune in tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern time to check out A. Johnny, because he got an interesting topic. He's pissed off right now because ESPN got LeBron James ranked 7th in the NBA right now. Hell, he's not even top 10 to me. But hell, he's crying about LeBron James being voted 7th, being the 7th best player in the league. So he's going to cry about that shit tomorrow. That's another fanboy tactic that he doing. Man, look, man, at the end of the day, this debate is going to really test your basketball knowledge. It ain't going to be no simple-minded shit like we did about fanboys. It ain't going to be no impossible task type shit when you talking about an all-time record versus scoring titles. I did that shit for charity. This week, though, next week, next Saturday, this is not charity. You getting Herm. You getting the best version of me. This ain't going to be no rinky-dink bullshit. I'm going to go whoop your ass. I'm going to end this shit once and for all. Because when it comes down to it, I'm going to break this shit down. I'm going to cook you. I'm going to be zoned out. I'm going to be zoned in. And I'm going to smoke you, man. This going to be easy fucking working with all the takes that you've been having. Man, I already know what you're going to do. I already know what you're going to do. And Michael, that's if Lamont be available, because you know Lamont is coaching. Man, shout out to Lamont and his team. Hopefully they have another great successful year and repeat as champs. So Lamont is busy coaching, but Lamont may make himself available next Saturday. So you may see Lamont moderate the debate, because I know you guys do miss the old school fashion, and this type of debate is the old school way, because we really expounded on basketball knowledge. There's no narratives. It's no what ifs or none of this. This is about errors. And you got to speak your shit. You got to bring up certain points about the error to make your debate good. So, end of the day, y'all, like I said, we know what it is. I know what I'm going to say. I know how I'm going to cook it. But, hey, Johnny, your days are over. No more charity work, man. I had to make you feel good about yourself. But ever since, you've been slipping every day lately. You've been slipping slowly, too. I just been letting it play out. Just been letting it simmer. Man, look, I got the crock pot on. I got that roast going on. Got that beef roast cooking right now. I'm just letting it simmer. I'm letting that meat get tender. Once that meat get tender and real juicy, I'm going to go ahead and pull it. I'm going to have the potatoes ready. Man, all that ready. I'm telling you now. This ain't gonna be no cakewalk. This gonna be easy work. You ain't gonna be able to finesse you ain't gonna be able to do that sick shit that you do. Cause you got to come with some valid points. And if you doing what I know you going to do, you're going to get smoked with that logic. But man, salute to y'all. Y'all hit that like button, man. If y'all want to donate, show love to FIL Sports, man. We got a great thing going on with this content. Shout out to H30, man, that's doing this thing. And what's for him and when be full court press right now. Shout out to everybody that's showing love and support, man. Look, we trying to build a sports network. We trying to get it going, man. It's all about growth and development over here, man. And this is hey, this is what it is about. Our brothers coming together and making shit happen. Like I say, hey, Johnny is my brother. End of the day, I want him to be successful in everything he do. This is just friendly competition, but I ain't gonna smoke his ass. I ain't gonna bring him back down a notch. Cause I want him to have confidence. I want him to feel good about himself. But now, it just woke a monster back up. It woke a beast back up. I'm back motivated. Cause we went away from the debate shit for a while, but we gonna get it back cranked. So man, salute to y'all. Y'all tune in the next Saturday night, man. Hearn versus A Johnny Part 4. I gave A Johnny 2 wins. I probably go run the course and win 4-2. But this is just how it's gonna be, man. Full court press, 94 feet, boys, man. We out. Salute to y'all. We out of here, y'all.